Our story begins with the question: have you ever found yourself waking up from a nightmare only to realize you were still in another one? Then, we see a gigantic rift in the sky. In the middle of this rift, there was an eye and several creatures emerging from it. The city was completely destroyed on all sides, with huge creatures devastating everything. Suddenly, we see a man facing a giant doppelganger. The man's eyes start to glow, and he launches a powerful attack. Suddenly, everything goes dark and a voice says, "Liu Cheng, hey, Liu Cheng, wake up, Liu Cheng." Suddenly, our protagonist wakes up and realizes he is Liu Cheng. The teacher then speaks, "Liu Cheng, you slept through the entire day again. There are only 200 days left until the final exam, and you're not even trying. Boy, all you know how to do is sleep and sleep. If you keep this up, you won't even get hired as a construction worker. Do you know the minimum life status of a construction worker?" Liu Cheng replies, 0.8. The teacher continues, "Is that what you want for your life?" A boy then says, "Teacher, stop bothering him. Let the poor guy sleep." Another student comments that Liu Cheng's life status is 0.7 and that he couldn't do much besides sleep. The teacher says he's not even trying and dismisses the class. A boy named Luo Kaiming, a friend of Liu Cheng, says, "Did you have a nightmare again?" Liu Cheng starts to remember the dream and says it was a desolate field full of monsters. "Man, don't even remind me of that. The nightmare severely dropped my mental state and my life status decreased by 0.02 from the original. Now I need to take a bunch of medicine to recover." Luo Kaiming responds, "It's not even worth thinking about it, man. Your life status is lower than mine and we're just ordinary humans. Let's leave the hero stuff to the geniuses and just be normal people. Let's go to the internet cafe and play a bit." Liu Cheng replies, "I'll pass this time. I'm not in a good mood. I'm going home." Luo Kaiming insists, "Why are you going home so early? That's not like you. Come on, I'll pay for the drinks and computer costs." Liu Cheng says, "No, I need to sleep. Sorry." Another boy then asks, "Luo Kaiming, are you still going to play?" He replies that he was just about to go. Luo Kaiming says, "Let's play together next time." And Liu Cheng responds, "See you later." The scene changes, and Liu Cheng is walking through the streets. He thinks, "I never thought that after reincarnating into a new world, I would still have to worry about exams. I'm worried about math. I should at least check the news. It seems this world is very different from my old one." While observing the billboards, a muscular woman carrying several boxes almost runs into him and tells him to stop being distracted in the middle of the street. He observes the woman and thinks about how strong she is, wondering when he could be that strong. The scene changes to Liu Cheng's home. His mother was massaging his father when Liu Cheng arrives. His father asks if he was hungry and wanted an apple. His mother says she will prepare dinner now since they were waiting for him and his sister to come back. Liu Cheng says, "Dad, why don't we buy a blood circulation device? I heard that just holding it boosts your vital energy and blood flow, improving circulation and helping heal your back and waist. My classmate has one and said it's really good." His father replies, "Boy, this isn't an injury. It's just because of age. But your dad is tough as metal. These bruises are nothing to me. Ah, I remembered something. I have a present for you, son. This is the latest recovery powder from the benevolent clinic. Aren't you surprised?" His mother comments, "Honey, isn't that the recovery powder that cost $20,000 and was advertised on TV? This is amazing. Having this kind of medicine during school years is really incredible. You're an amazing man and can withstand this blow, my love." The poor guy was in pain. Liu Cheng's mother then says, "This is perfect. My superiors let me bring home the leftover pork from work today. So today we celebrate your hard work." After talking about the day's luck, Liu Cheng's mother says, "Liu Cheng, how is your life status? Have you reached 0.85 yet? Your sister is almost at 0.9, so I'm really worried about you, my son. I heard on the news they are planning to raise the minimum exam requirement by 0.01. This leaves Liu Cheng very surprised, and he responds that he already knew that. He then goes to his room and says he needs to hurry and exercise. He takes off his jacket and says, 24 body reconstruction techniques, 14 sets of radio gymnastics, begin." Suddenly, he strikes a pose similar to special forces and thinks, the martial world recommended these 24 body reconstruction techniques. They were created based on ancient yoga, martial arts, and judo techniques by martial masters of the Martial Alliance, specifically designed to help novices improve their foundations. Basically, what I'm doing now is the 13th revised edition. Ever since the world changed 300 years ago, several cracks appeared in the sky and earth, and terrible monsters emerged from these cracks, altering the course of our history. Advanced weapons became useless, and humanity was trying to discover a new kind of strength. Suddenly, a lock on humanity's genetics started to be used. The individual strength of everyone increased drastically, and consequently, humanity entered the prosperous era of martial arts. However, However, even in a battlefield full of monsters, to coexist and conquer the lands, humanity was still at a disadvantage. Cities fell into the hands of monsters every day, and humanity was pushed to the limits of its strength. Then, a man is shown giving a speech to an audience. You were born into a world without rest, and must bear the responsibility of this era on your shoulders. You have practiced martial arts for humanity, and each of you is the future legacy of martial arts. We return to Liu Cheng, who is completely exhausted. He says, "I've finally finished the 3 sets of the body reconstruction technique, and my life status didn't even change. My younger sister is already reaching 0.9, and I'm still stuck here. I couldn't even recover my status because I lost it in that damn nightmare. My dad and mom brought a lot of medicine for me. Even the heavens gave me a second chance by letting me reincarnate in this martial arts world. But this is the final result. Since it's useless, even after doing it 3 times, I'll have to do it 4, 5, even 6 times. I can't give up." However, he was already very tired, and his vision started to blur. When he closes his eyes and opens them again, he is shocked because the scenery had completely changed. He realizes he is in the desolate field of his nightmares, with a skull lying in the dark place. He pinches himself, thinking he fell asleep again, but he can't wake up. Behind him, a hideous creature appears, a sort of zombie that starts attacking him from behind, knocking him to the ground. The zombie seems to be wearing a police uniform. Liu Cheng says, "I can't believe there's a zombie here. I managed to escape them a few nights, but I can't believe I got caught by this creature." The zombie tries to bite his face, but he dodges, and the zombie hits its head on the ground. Liu Cheng says, "You bastard, don't underestimate me. Even if I'm lousy in combat, even if I have a life status of 0.7, I'm still a martial artist." He then kicks the zombie, throwing it far away, and picks up a stone from the ground, hitting the zombie's head several times with force. Afterward, he sits on top of the zombie's body and says, "Finally killed this bastard." A zombie's weakness is its head. However, a strange aura ends up entering Liu Cheng's arm and goes directly to his chest. Liu Cheng starts to remember some things. It is said, "After graduating, what do you intend to do?" And the boy responds that he wanted to join the military defense. He says, "I heard their training is very dangerous and painful." And the boy responds, "That's okay. After all, it's my dream." Changing the scene, a man says, "From today on, you are a member of base number 1359 of the defense team. Remember well, Y48-549? And he responds, "Yes, Sergeant." Then, it is said, breathing and body building techniques will be taught to you. It is best to use them while eating and even when sleeping. More power means more survival ability. In another scene, several creatures attack the base's gates. It is said, these creatures are evolved and are everywhere. But what are these black mists? Our protagonist says, "What's happening to me? Are these the memories of the guy who was alive? And why did I get his memories after killing him? What's happening to me?" Suddenly, another zombie appears behind him with speed and ferocity. Liu Cheng rips the creature's head off with ease, and this time his eyes were golden. When his eyes return to normal, he wonders, what just happened there? Did I do that? How did I get so strong all of a sudden? The aura starts entering his body again, and he says, "This power is slowly entering my body. Is it from this zombie? Killing zombies only gave me the memories of their past lives. But that wasn't all. I also gained a lot of strength." Liu Cheng says, "Man, I can't believe this. I just gained a lifetime of experience just like that. Doesn't this defy the laws of nature?" He then thinks, well, if only this wasn't a dream. But it's also strange to call this a dream. Actually, everything here feels very realistic. He then sees that same aura coming out of a skeleton, and more memories start to appear in his mind. He remembers base 1359. This base also appeared in those previous memories. And he says, "It seems I'll have to find this base 1359. Maybe I'll be able to find the truth about these dreams there." Absorbing the memories this time wasn't as unpleasant as before, so it seems I'll have to find combat zombies to inherit their strengths and also become stronger. Their memories will also be very useful to me. Suddenly, a very bright light appears from all sides, and even buildings start to rise. However, at that moment, Liu Cheng wakes up in his room again, completely sweaty. His brother, Armando Liu Cheng, appears calling out, "Get out of there, kid. It's time to eat. How long are you going to stay locked in that room?" Liu Cheng opens the door, all sweaty and with his shirt stuck to his body. He says, "Don't even think about saying you were exercising, because I know you were sleeping until now." His sister, Liu King, Liu Cheng's only younger sister, says, "Now that you're awake, hurry up and go downstairs. Don't make mom and dad wait." Liu Cheng thinks, since when did he get so muscular? It seems he's really been working hard. He then says, "I'm coming," and thinks, Liu King has always been close to me since we were very young, ever since we started attending school together, and she received the results of her first evaluation. Her attitude towards me has changed a lot. It's not surprising. After Overall, her health status is above 1.0 and her combat ability is well over 100. At this pace, she'll soon receive an offer from a prestigious martial arts university. In short, Liu Qinch is a bona fide genius. As for me, I'm just a worthless brother with a genius sister. When the protagonist then takes off his shirt, he says, "Huh, since when did I get all this muscle? Besides, I don't feel lazy this time. Even though I just woke up, I don't even feel sleepy. Actually, I'm full of energy. And that's not all. I remember all the memories I obtained from the zombies and the various combat techniques I inherited." The protagonist then says that it was unbelievable for him, as it seemed he had become much stronger in a short time. He says, "Can I bring the strength I gained in my dreams to this reality? Can I really get stronger just by dreaming? Things like this only happen in stories. I can't believe this is happening to me." He then sits at the table and starts eating a lot, saying, "Mom's cooking has improved. Today's dishes are really delicious. It's so good that I can't stop eating." He asks for another bowl and had already eaten several, but realizes that everyone was shocked because there was nothing left. He feels embarrassed and says, no need, I'm full," and thinks, but when did I start eating this much? His father then says, "Dear, could you make another pot of rice and cook a few more dishes? Boys are all like this during puberty. You never feel full, right, son? No matter how much you eat, before you know it, you'll be much taller. This is a very good thing, right, son? I'll get some tonics and nutritious ingredients. Puberty is a great time to improve your health status, so we can't waste it." He then asks, "How much higher can it go?" His sister replies, "He's already 18, and the last time it was checked, I remember it was just 0.8. His father says, "Hey, daughter, stop belittling your brother. You do this every day. Every number counts and is very important. There is a huge difference between graduating from a regular martial arts university and a specialized martial arts university." The protagonist then thinks, maybe my health status really increased in the dream, but is it just my imagination? I should test this at the dojo. The scene changes, and Liu Cheng is standing in front of the dojo. He thinks, master of the Hongchuan dojo, Nai Hongchuan, specializes in his family's boxing techniques. He once ranked among the top 10 in the 23rd Martial Arts Conference of Bear City. He is a level 4 martial artist, the world standard of the Martial Alliance. The health status of a martial artist should be between 1 and 1.5, with combat power in the 150 range. The health status of a level 2 martial artist is 15, with combat power 1500. From category 1 to category 2, this standard increased 10 times. The health status of a level 3 martial artist is 100, with combat power up to 10,000. Only by elevating the peak health status beyond 200 and achieving combat power up to 100,000 can one become a level 4 martial artist. The protagonist is shocked. A health status surpassing 200. That equates to 300 for me. He thinks a person's position in society is related to their standing as a martial artist. High-level martial artists are true superhumans. Just look at the tuition fees for this school. Only children from wealthy families can afford to attend, and if I wanted, my family would probably pay for it. But in my case, whatever. Besides, I need to absorb the zombies' experience in my dreams. I don't really need a preschool education. Suddenly, a woman speaks. "Hello, Liu Cheng. Welcome to Hongchuan. Are you here to enroll in our martial arts enrichment class?" Liu Cheng replies, "No, I'm actually here for a health status evaluation." The woman thinks, he doesn't even have a personal instructor with him. He doesn't seem to be from a wealthy family. She says, "Walk down the hallway to room 8. There's an evaluation machine there. Do you need my help?" He responds, "No, it's fine. I know how it works. Thank you very much." The scene changes, and the protagonist is already facing the machine. He says, "Well, let's evaluate my health status first." When Liu Cheng places his hand on the glowing orb, he sees that his health status is 0.963, and his martial artist rank is apprentice. Liu Cheng is very happy with this score, as he was at 0.96, meaning he went up 0.2 in just an hour. He says, "This must be cultivation." He pauses and thinks, "I'm almost at my younger sister's level, and she's a genius. At this rate, I'll be able to advance on the martial arts path. But now let's see what my combat power level is." He strikes a pose towards an armored dummy and thinks, "It'll be fine. The experience and combat techniques from those zombies are engraved in my mind." He then unleashes a powerful strike on the dummy, and his combat power is 113. The protagonist is very happy, as it's a significant increase, even more than his health status limit. He thinks, "Is this real? Can I really become a true martial artist? I slept for only an hour, and my health status and combat power increased so much. What would happen if I slept for 8 hours, or even 9 hours, maybe even 10 hours? In just one night, I would be reborn." The scene changes, and our protagonist is trying to sleep. However, good old insomnia hits, and he becomes very frustrated. He says, "Damn, Damn, what the hell? Now I can't sleep just because I want to. Did I sleep too much in class today? What kind of miserable teenage life am I leading? Man, it's only 9 o'clock. It's a bit too early to sleep. To be honest, well, whatever. I'll exercise naturally and fall asleep when I hit the bed. It's so good that now I can stabilize my health status since it increased. He then starts his training. When he delivers a strike, he wonders, what did I just do? Why would I do something like that? He thinks. I've been doing this exercise since elementary school. How could I make such a mistake? And concludes, it's those memories of the body training techniques that the zombie learned when it was alive. From outside the building, you could see that Liu Cheng was training hard until a purple aura started to appear on his arm. He says, now I know more than 200 different attacks. The more I practice, the more I feel the strength inside me emerging to the fullest. He thinks that it's not just because of the exercise technique, but also the breathing technique. He finds it all fascinating, and these few movements gave him much better results than a year of normal training. He then says that his dreamland is like a treasure trove. However, when he went to do a few more techniques, he ended up collapsing to the ground from hunger. He asks, what the hell is happening to my body? Why am I so hungry like this? I can't even stand up. He thinks, is my body unable to produce enough energy? After my life status increased drastically, normal food can't provide the sufficient nutrients I need in the long term. I really need medicine, but our family's salary isn't enough to cover the costs of these kinds of supplements. If this continues, my progress will be affected. I have to earn money to buy them as soon as possible. The school rewards exemplary students with certificates. I remember students received certificates from Bai Academy and also earned 50,000. If I want that money, I must show my talent and strength. The scene shifts to the sports arena. Inside the locker room, the protagonist's friend says, wow, man, it's rare that the old professor didn't spend the entire class looking at the exam papers this time. We haven't had a combat class in a long time. When he sees his friend shirtless, he exclaims, Liu Cheng, you bastard, since when do you have those abs? You must be taking some supplements, right? Man, we didn't see each other for just a few days, and I almost didn't recognize you. Crazy. Liu Cheng responds, well, I've been practicing a lot these days, and stop touching me. You're making me embarrassed. Oh, my hair has grown quite a bit too. I need to cut it. The boy then comments, you only trained because of today's combat class, right? Trying to look hot so the girls will drool over you. I see that your heart has already been corrupted. Liu Cheng responds, you're the one who's corrupted. Man, the final exam is almost here, and you should prepare more. Liu Cheng thinks, but maybe this is really my chance. The chance to become popular at this school. The scene then shifts to the martial arts hall. There stands the combat instructor, Zhang Zhengguo, who says, for today's combat class, we will consolidate what we learned in the basic martial arts course. A boy comments, I heard he's a level 2 martial artist and has even fought monsters before. Look at the scars on his right arm. Liu Cheng thinks, a level 2 martial artist. His attacks seem simple and superficial. What I absorbed from my dreams is far superior to this. The instructor then says, all right, I've covered all the important points. Yang Yifei, be my opponent for this demonstration. The blonde boy stands up, and the girls comment that he is handsome and looks very strong. Another girl says, of course he's strong. He's the most handsome and intelligent in the class. Liu Cheng's friend comments, oh no, not that guy again. He always gets the chance to show off. He's handsome and rich. How can the world be so unfair? It is said, all the medicines I took worked well, and my life status is almost 1.2. The school teachers are not fair. How could we, mere students, survive here? Liu Cheng thinks, well, if it were the old me, I would probably think the same way. But from now on, I'll fight for what I want. After finishing the fight, the instructor says, stop. Not bad. Your moves are sharp. Just a few minor issues with where you place your center of gravity. I'll correct that after class. Keep it up, and you'll go far. Now let's proceed with the matches. I'll select some students to fight with you. Yang Yifei responds, understood. Thank you very much for the help, Professor. However, helping me, a martial artist of such a low level as you is even weaker than my family's trainer. Compared to you, who was a burden during the battle, my future is bright. The instructor then asks, who wants to fight Yang Yifei? No one wanted to fight him. Everyone was avoiding eye contact. Liu Cheng's friend comments, who would beat him? I'm absolutely sure no one here wants to be embarrassed in public. The instructor thinks, every time I mention combat, the students run away. They are so scared. How can I teach them like this? Even though the school teaches life status cultivation and martial arts practice, those who manage to enter the army after graduating and continue the journey to become top martial artists are the ones who shine the most. They say I favor them, but they never thought carefully. Besides Yang Yifei, none of them want to get close to battle. Suddenly, the instructor looks at Liu Cheng, and he thinks, that boy, Liu Cheng, it's like he's very experienced in fights. The instructor then says, "Alright, I'll choose this guy here." And Lu Cheng responds, "Alright." The instructor thinks, "Have we always had a guy with this hidden potential before? I really don't remember that." Lu Cheng's friend says, "Man, Lu Cheng, isn't it better for you to give up? The exam is just around the corner. If you get hurt, it will affect your grades. Don't force yourself to do this kind of thing." And Lu Cheng responds, "Relax, trust me. Didn't I tell you before that I've been practicing a lot?" The teacher then says, "The time limit is 10 minutes. The rules are the same as a standard friendly match. But remember that safety comes first. Remember the important points I mentioned earlier." So, the two boys start facing each other. The teacher says, "Learn from each other until time runs out." He thinks, this kid is very calm, even knowing he's about to fight the strongest in the class. How did I not notice this gem before? The teacher then asks, "What's your life status?" Lu Cheng replies, "The last time I measured, it was 0.8. The teacher thinks, 0.8? That's very low. He didn't seem that low. Am I confusing him? The teacher then says, "So, don't use too much force in your attacks. The main goal is to learn. Are you ready? Begin." Yang Yifei then says, "Are you ready, Mr. Lu? You heard the teacher earlier, right? Don't use your hands to cushion your fall. It's too dangerous. You need to protect your weak points, especially your head." Lu Cheng thanks him for the advice and says he's ready, asking him to go easy. However, Yang Yifei comes with full ferocity, throwing a punch towards Lu Cheng's face. Yang Yifei thinks, "Lu Cheng, do you know what's most important in a real fight? Controlling the distance between you and your opponent, watching their movements to predict the next attack, choosing the most appropriate methods to defeat them, maintaining a balance between defensive and offensive moves, using battle time to employ short and quick attacks, or hitting harder to secure victory. But none of these is the most important. The most important thing is the difference in life status, strength, and speed. The winner is already decided. The strongest always wins, and a loser like you should kneel before me and beg for mercy." However, Yang Yifei was boasting so much that when he realized Lu Cheng had disappeared. When he looks down, Lu Cheng had dodged the blow and was preparing a powerful punch. He lands a full punch on Yang Yifei's face, throwing him far among the other students. This left everyone very surprised. No one believed that was really Lu Cheng. Everyone wondered if Lu Cheng really did that with just one punch. All the students were shocked and asked, "Did Lu Cheng defeat Yang Yifei with just one punch?" The teacher then tells a student, "Why are you standing there? Call the nurse. Quickly." The student responds, "Okay." The scene then changes, and Yang Yifei is already on the stretcher. Lu Cheng approaches the teacher and says, "Mr. Zhang, I'm really sorry. It was an accident. I couldn't control my strength." The teacher then pats Lu Cheng's shoulder and says, "Getting hurt is inevitable when we're learning in combat. Don't worry, it wasn't serious. By the way, kid, come with me to the office. I need to have a serious conversation with you." Lu Cheng responds, "All right, please inform the next teacher that I need to go to the teacher's office." The students are impressed, and one comments, "What the fuck? Man, did the guy use drugs to do that? How did he get so strong?" Another says, "Man, he's definitely taking steroids. Is this really the Lu Cheng we know?" Yang Yifei has a life status of 1.22, and even he couldn't withstand Lu Cheng's punches. What is Lu Cheng's real life status? And that's how Lu Cheng started to become popular at school. Arriving at the teacher's office, there were those machines to test combat power and also a bonsai tree. Lu Cheng then comments that he didn't know the teacher had this kind of hobby. The teacher responds, "Well, everyone has their hobbies, right? And also, everyone has their secrets, don't they?" Lu Cheng, Mr. Lu Cheng, who has a life status of 0.8. Lu Cheng replies, "Mr. Zhang, I told you that was the last time I measured." The teacher then asks, "You're not taking those drugs that forcefully increase your life status, are you? You should know that's strictly against the rules. Besides hurting your body, if you get caught using them, you're screwed." Lu Cheng responds that, of course, he isn't using those things and swears he has never used anything like that. The teacher says, "All right, if that's the case, let's measure your life status now. If you've used those drugs, the number will fluctuate. After that, we'll measure your combat strength. If your life status and combat strength match, it will prove that you're genuinely strong and have never used those drugs." Lu Cheng agrees and places his hand on the glowing orb again. Rays begin to emanate from the orb, and the teacher is amazed to see that Lu Cheng's life status is 1.532 and that his martial artist level is level 1. The teacher is horrified and thinks, 1.5. He's a legitimate martial artist. At just 18 years old, he'll be considered a genius not only at our school but throughout the city. When Lu Cheng tests his combat strength, he ends up breaking the measuring dummy. He wonders what just happened. The teacher starts to cry when he sees the dummy's head has smashed through his bonsai tree. The teacher thinks, this kid, even though this machine is designed for students, it should withstand attacks from advanced martial artists. His strength is much greater than that of a level 1 martial artist. The scene changes, and Lu Cheng is sitting, looking worried. The teacher says, "You told me before that your life status was 0.8 the last time you measured it. When was that?" Lu Cheng responds that it was 15 days ago. The teacher, indignant, asks, "Are you telling me it took only 15 days to increase your life status from 0.8 to that of a legitimate martial artist? What kind of wealthy family do you have? Or what kind of great master helped you cultivate?" Lu Cheng replies that his family is very ordinary and that he has no great master. He says the way he managed to increase his strength so quickly is a secret. The teacher becomes very worried and thinks his life status doubled in just 1 month. And this kid's combat strength is much stronger than that of a legitimate martial artist. "When I was a student, my status was very good. After cultivating for many years, I finally reached the level of a level 2 martial artist and joined the army. When I stepped onto the battlefield, I realized that humans would never triumph against the monsters. When faced with absurd amounts of strength, humans are small and useless. Those who can defeat these monsters are the ones who also possess insane amounts of strength, and humans can't even eat their dust because they are legitimate monsters." The teacher then sits down and says, "I understand. With these results, you could join the best classes in the school and be taught by the best teachers. I'll talk to the educational administrator right away." Lu Cheng responds, "Thank you for the generosity, but I don't need that. I believe my current class is already very good." He thinks, "It's easier to cultivate in my dream than to learn in classes." The teacher says, "Even so, the school will give you full support since you are so talented. If you have any difficulties while cultivating, the school can help you. Let us know if you have any problems." Lu Cheng responds, "Well, in that case, I'll accept your offer, but I have 2 requests. I want to apply for the martial arts scholarship, and at the same time, I hope the school will give me more free time during school hours." The teacher thinks, well, he needs money and free time, and says, "All right, I'll help you with the scholarship and also provide you with 30,000. About the free time, I'll talk to the educational administration office. The scholarship application will be approved in 2 days, but your training is something immediate. I'll give you this for now. You can pay me back when you have the money." Lu Cheng is impressed with the card and thinks it's a black martial arts card, and it has at least 100,000 on it. That's more money than the scholarship. Lu Cheng thanks the teacher, who responds, "Don't neglect your training. I'm counting on you to restore the school's honor. Now you can go back to class." Lu Cheng says he understands and thanks him again. As he leaves the office, the teacher says, "This is great. My Bai Academy finally has a prodigy like him. He's not even 18, but he has the potential of a level 2 martial artist. Before the exam, I must keep him under wraps, so he'll be our secret weapon. I can definitely use him to intimidate other schools. I need my superiors to know about this. He won't just ace the exam. After so long, we'll finally have someone to go to that place." The scene then shifts to a salesperson saying, "You have good taste. This is the newest benevolent supplement from the heart of the Orchid Salon. Consuming this to strengthen your life status level after reaching 0.8 will be much more effective. Moreover, it was specially developed for famous martial artists. It's one of the promotional items, and each bottle costs 30,000. A woman responds that she'll take it. Lu Cheng watches as the 2 women leave, and the mother says to her daughter, "You have to practice a lot after taking this supplement so you can make full use of it." The daughter replies, "Don't worry, Mom. I'll get first place in the mock exam this time." Lu Cheng thinks, 30,000 for a bottle. My parents can only afford supplements that cost 3,000, even after working tirelessly. Only strong martial artists can make a lot of money like that. Consequently, having more money allows training stronger martial artists. It's very difficult for someone from a poor family to become one of the best martial artists. Lu Kinch is a true prodigy and really talented. She has the power to change her own destiny, but her progress has been affected by me, with my low status and lack of resources. Moreover, I'm not willing to accept that I'm just a mediocre martial artist, but I haven't tried my best to find ways to change my destiny. I continue living my life in a confused manner, without achieving anything. 2 boys are talking, and one of them says, "Today I present you with a great opportunity. Recently, I mastered a great sword skill. Let's go hunting." The other, laughing, responds, "All because of you. If you had spent less time on games, we could have increased our stats faster. You better admit your mistakes." Lu Cheng then thinks, "Although I long to experience the unimaginable in the martial arts world, I kept hiding in games and was reluctant to give up the connection to my past life. It's like I was a fish trapped in a tank, wishing to live in the vast ocean, but reluctant to leave the comfort and peace of the tank. However, now everything has changed. I've broken free of those limits, explored the world beyond, and gained the opportunity to change my destiny. I won't make wrong decisions anymore about what I want and how to do things." The protagonist then opens his eyes, surprised, and says, "I just mastered the vast amount of battles I absorbed earlier. My combat techniques have improved significantly. Now I've finally mastered these fighting techniques. He then thinks about finding his true self. Lu Cheng says that his teacher had mentioned this before, and it was really enlightening for him. With some shopping bags, he thinks, Mom and Dad, I'll continue to get stronger and pursue everything I want. The scene then changes to Lu Cheng fighting zombies. This time, the zombie was wearing a kimono. With one strike, he finishes off the zombie and thinks, this zombie must have been a martial artist in its past life. It was still able to whisper martial arts techniques even after becoming a zombie. According to the zombie's memories, military base number 1359 is just ahead, but the military base is surrounded by black smoke and countless monsters. This is really strange. I haven't encountered any monsters yet. Suddenly, he sees other zombies and finishes them off. When he reaches the top of a rock, he finally finds what he was looking for. Military base number 1359. Descending the rocks to get a closer look, he is impressed by the gigantic wall and thinks, is this really the right place? This doesn't look like a military base. Lu Cheng continues to think, even if two titans appeared now, I wouldn't be surprised. This wall is so thick. It must be at least 20 meters thick. What kind of battle caused a breach in such a military base? Whether through martial arts or civilization development, this world has far surpassed my original world. But if such a strong civilization fell into the hands of these monsters, what will our future be like? Observing the horizon, he notices a building different from the others and thinks, surely, this must be the military base or headquarters. Looking closer, he sees a person sitting there and wonders, what is that? It looks like a zombie. The zombie, with its eyes glowing, looks in Lu Cheng's direction, who, just feeling the presence of that zombie, falls to the ground. He says, what the hell just happened? The shockwave from that thing. What is this terrifying aura? Why is it so intimidating? One thing is certain, I better not go near that place. I shouldn't think about this for now. He decides to explore the surrounding area and observes. The zombies down there don't look so scary. Lu Cheng uses a zombie's head to climb a wall, reaching a place that looks like a shop. He comments, there are no zombies here. This place looks like a normal apartment. It seems the owners were enjoying a meal when the apocalypse suddenly occurred. There are no signs on the doors and windows showing that the house was broken into. Could these people have turned into zombies because of that eerie black mist? He notices an item on the table and wonders what it is, and if it still works. When he presses it, a message appears. End of standby mode, restarting the program. A hologram of a blonde woman appears and says, hello, you are using heavenly law technology. Lu Cheng wonders, what is this? Could it be a hologram image or virtual reality? He realizes that the device is using the same language as him and wonders if it has an automatic translation function. The hologram woman then says, I was created by heavenly law technology. I am an AI or artificial intelligence with a 16th generation brain here to assist you. I am responsible for managing the internet servers of military base number 1359. The protagonist thinks, an artificial intelligence, the technology of the future is really advanced. Little did he know that we were already living in it. Lu Cheng then says, all right, AI, could you show me the latest news? The artificial intelligence responds that she understood and is happy to help. She tries to connect to Skynet, but the connection is impossible. Then, she tries to connect to the database of military base 1359. When the connection is made, several systems appear in front of Lu Cheng, all saying, Era of Martial Arts, year 11,024, June 21st. The main military base number 2 successfully launched spacecraft number 58 for life exploration with a destination in Lyra. On July 12th, military base number 105 was attacked. On September 24th, a martial artist from Sang River ascended to the 10-star class realm and became the 472nd martial artist in the 10-star class realm. Currently, the World Martial Arts Organization has 23 martial artists in the 10-star class realm. On September 30th, military bases number 114 and 893 fell under enemy control. The 8th troop was sent to search for survivors. On November 19th, the World Martial Arts Organization will hold its 24th general meeting with reputable masters at military base number 1 to discuss strategies for dealing with the monsters. Lu Cheng is very impressed with all this information and thinks, a 10-star martial artist. If this world and mine are parallel, the progress in martial arts is unimaginable. Suddenly, a simulation of monsters appears before him, and he is surprised by what he sees. He thinks, the technology and martial arts of this world have developed to an absurd level. However, even a 10-star martial artist and such a tall and sturdy wall couldn't defend against the monsters and the black mist, despite sending a team into space to find another suitable planet for humans. No good news has been sent since the destruction destruction of civilization. As expected, humans are incapable of avoiding extinction. Even with this civilization thriving, the situation is very dire. Lu Cheng then says, AI, could you investigate the history of the world? She responds, sure, retrieving the world's history. Suddenly, another system appears in front of Lu Cheng, and he begins to read. In the first year of the martial arts era, huge cracks appeared around the world, and many monsters emerged from them. In the 34th year of the martial arts era, the first martial artist with internal strength was born in the ancient dragon nation. In the same year, the World Martial Arts Organization was established. Lu Cheng, reading this, is amazed because the history he is reading is actually the history of his own world. He reflects and says, so that's it. The same language, the same martial artist class system. The images I saw before weren't of another world being destroyed, but of my world being destroyed after 10,000 years. Maybe it's not the same world. It could just be a coincidence or a parallel world. Lu Cheng then asks the AI to retrieve his personal information. She detects that his name is Lu Cheng and finds 36 results. He begins to read. In June of the year 297 of the martial arts era. Here is his information. Lu Cheng then wonders why he would only live to be 28 years old and, moreover, was just an ordinary citizen. He then asks the AI to continue searching for information and also to look for any information about Lu Kinch. The AI then says, the authority is sufficient, but guests are not permitted to access information related to martial artists. She asks for a blood sample from our protagonist to create an account. Lu Cheng thinks, why do I need to give my blood to create an account? That makes no sense. He asks the AI, how should I give you my blood? Do you have some kind of needle? Suddenly, the AI bites Lu Cheng's finger, taking a blood sample. He thinks the image was quite suggestive. After collecting the blood sample, the AI says, blood sample collected, initiating analysis. Lu Cheng can only think that people in the future are going too far. Suddenly, the AI starts glitching, and he wonders what's happening. On the hologram, a fire signal appears, and the AI says, blood analysis complete. Revolution plan activated, connecting to the Revolution database of military base number 1359. Success. Access granted. Lu Cheng asks, Revolution, what is she talking about? Is it the plan to search for a new planet before leaving Earth? New information appears, showing details about Lu Cheng. Name, Lu Cheng. Gender, male. Life expectancy, June of year 297 to August of year 334. Martial arts ability, level 4 martial artist. Authority, level 2. Life experience, graduated from Bai Academy. Entered Bai Martial Arts University after achieving first place in his school and 23rd place in Bai City during the unified exams. Joined the armed forces after graduating from Bai Martial Arts University. Served at Tana military base. In August of year 334. Died at the age of 37 in a conflict on the southern battlefield. Marital status, single. Highest rank, first lieutenant. Achievements, completed first class military service 3 times, second class 5 times, and third class 12 times. No notable contributions. History evaluation, 2 stars. Lu Cheng wonders why his photo changed so much and thinks, has the future changed? Reading this description, I graduated with top results from Bai Academy, placed 23rd in Bai City, and entered Bai Martial Arts University. 3 years later, I joined the armed forces and then served at Tana military base. I died on the southern battlefield at the age of 37. I was still single and reached the rank of first lieutenant, but had no notable contributions. Has the future changed after I became stronger? He continues to reflect. The information before I turned 18 is the same as I remember. The occasion of my strength increasing greatly before the unified exams is also recorded. However, no matter how extravagant my history is, all this glory didn't mean much, since my history evaluation is 2 stars. He then thinks, in this database, I can't be considered a genius. After all, with over 10,000 years of information, there are many geniuses. As they say, everyone can leave their mark on history. But there are flaws in my personal information. They only recorded my IQ level in my blood as 2012 and my combat strength as 257 when I took the unified exams. If I ignore Dreamland and focus solely on exercises and breathing techniques, using the resources I have to maintain progress speed, I could reach these values in 200 days. But if I continue cultivating and reaping benefits from Dreamland, I will definitely surpass these values. How could I be so satisfied with placing 23rd in the city? I should be among the top in the world rankings so that everyone knows of my existence. My future shouldn't be so limited. If I continue becoming stronger and changing the future, humanity won't face extinction. Then I, Lu Cheng, will become the savior with the power to change the entire history of this world. As a very ambitious person, I should be the one to start the revolution. At At least the protagonist isn't cowardly. I find his determination to become the most powerful in history very cool. The scene then shifts to Lu Cheng, his sister, and his mother. His mother asks, "Son, why aren't you in uniform? Don't you have school today?" He responds, "The teacher said I could study at home, so I don't need to go." His sister comments, "Study at home or at school? I've never heard anything about that." Lu Cheng says he's satisfied and will go to his room to study. His mother says that's fine and encourages him to keep up the good work. However, his sister thinks, "This boy, I feel like he's changed so much in such a short time. He's not as happy as before. He's deeper and more mysterious." Lu Cheng returns to his room and receives a call from Professor Zhang. The professor says his scholarship has arrived and that he should come to pick it up. Lu Cheng thanks the professor, who then asks why he didn't go to school today, as he thought they were going to decide on the class schedule. Lu Cheng responds that he doesn't have much time and therefore will hang up, but he will get in touch later. Lu Cheng thinks, "I don't have time to worry about school right now. I need to become much stronger and surprise everyone. The only way to reach the top is by showing my power. I want to get to the top to find a way to change the future." He returns to the present and speaks to the AI. "Please search for all martial arts methods, notes, and tips you can find." The AI begins to search through various sources and returns with 465,000 results. Lu Cheng says that's too much information and asks it to filter only the most suitable ones for first-level martial artists and rank them from best to worst. The AI does the filtering, and only 3 results remain at the top. Natural Breathing Technique, Body Refinement Chapter, created by Wang He, member of the 11th tier of the Martial Arts League, included in the Spark program. Natural Breathing Technique, Introductory Chapter, created by Yu Zhu, member of the 10th tier of the Martial Arts League, included in the Spark program. Crystal Constellation, Introductory Chapter, created by Duan Win Feng, member of the 11th tier of the Martial Arts League, also included in the Spark program. Lu Cheng comments that the strongest current martial artists are only level 9, but before him are 3 techniques from level 11 martial artists, which is really impressive. Even though they are only introductory chapters, the value of these techniques is unimaginable. He reflects that his ancestors in the Martial Arts League knew their fate, and, even without being able to do anything, preserved their knowledge in hopes that someone in the future would pass it on. But he never imagined that it wouldn't be someone famous passing on these techniques, but him. Stellar Alchemy. The human body is configured as a miniature universe to calm the mind and maintain the spirit, refining Kai and blood, strengthening the body, refining all mental cells to transform each one into a cell of inexhaustible power, turning the blood into a river of stars. The body then becomes a field of infinite changes, making its density reach an extreme level and its defense reach unimaginable levels. The Kai and blood boil and become as majestic as a river of stars. The protagonist thinks this is insane. If the effect of the previous body refinement technique was 1, the stellar refinement technique, or stellar alchemy, is at level 1000 or even higher. In the beginning, the exercises are not very unusual. Natural breathing technique. First form the breath of fire. Suddenly, we're in Demon Slayer. But okay, the protagonist thinks, this is the fire breath. It's like having multiple flames inside my body. Even my blood is boiling, and this is just the first technique. There are still other techniques with different attributes. Then he moves on to crystal vision, purification of the mind and strengthening of the will. It deals with the most mysterious part of martial arts practice, spiritual power. He thinks, does this mean I will practice with my spiritual power? Let me try a little. He begins to meditate and suddenly sees a larger version of himself. He wonders if that is the spiritual world and says, the will of the spirit is very important for martial arts practices. A martial artist with a strong will and no distractions can easily overcome one with a weak will who focuses only on power. He wonders how he will practice this, as he knows nothing about that world. He thinks it will take a long time to get used to it. When he wakes up, he feels extremely tired, and it didn't seem like a dream. Suddenly, he realizes he is completely dirty and smells bad. He wonders if it was sweat, and concludes that it came from the dream world. He notices that the dream world also affects the real world, which is great. He decides to take a bath and notices that the 2 techniques are multiplying in his body. He thinks it's amazing how he can eliminate impurities from his body. Now, his training is progressing very quickly. When he receives the scholarship, he will be able to buy the medicines and have a rare recipe never seen before. His powers will increase and will also affect the global pharmaceutical industry. The scene shifts to Bai Academy. Professor Zhang says, seriously, at least let me know before you plan to come to school. Lu Cheng apologizes for causing so much trouble. The professor says he can leave if he is busy, but he must ensure he comes to school at least once a week. Professor Zhang thinks, this kid, it's only been 2 days days since I last saw him, but why do I feel like I can't understand him anymore? The scene shifts to Lu Cheng walking outside. He thinks that now he finally has some money and needs to resolve his Kai and blood deficiency as quickly as possible. With the medical recipes he obtained from the future, he will be able to produce the most effective supplements in the world. According to the revolutionary database's recipes, the most suitable supplements are muscle and blood fortifying broth and the bone nutritive pill. He's sure that, using professional equipment, even a simple medicinal broth can be effective. However, he needs a proper pharmaceutical lab, which he can't afford. So, he tries to rent a pharmacy facility. He approaches a man and says, "What? You want to rent a pharmaceutical lab? You must be joking. That's impossible. The lab is the most valuable facility in the entire pharmacy. Do you really think we'll let you in just because you politely asked to take a look at our secret recipe?" The man slams the door in Lu Cheng's face, calling him a vagabond. Lu Cheng thinks, this is the 7th store I've asked, and it went exactly as expected. He had already bought all the ingredients needed to make the muscle and blood enhancement soup, and he has more than enough to make a few batches. He discovers that the card Professor Zhang gave him doesn't just have 30,000, but a total of 80,000, likely with some of the professor's own money. If he can't rent a lab, he'll have to buy some basic equipment online and try to do it himself. Suddenly, he looks ahead and sees a pharmacy. Lu Cheng thinks, why is there a pharmacy in such a suspicious place? He enters the pharmacy and tries to socialize with the clerk, who responds, "Hey, kid, just look around. If you want to buy something, bring the items here and pay for them. Nothing more," Lu Cheng says. "But I'm not here to buy anything." The man then responds, "Don't even think about stealing from the store. There are surveillance cameras everywhere, and everything you do will be captured." Lu Cheng thinks that although the previous pharmacy clerk had a bad attitude, at least he cared to ask if he needed anything. In this pharmacy, it seemed they weren't interested in business. The man was watching TikTok videos of girls dancing. Lu Cheng slaps the man's phone out of his hand, and the guy starts cursing at him. However, with a very threatening aura, Lu Cheng intimidates the man. The man then asks what he wanted, and Lu Cheng responds, "I wanted to ask a question. Do you have a pharmaceutical lab here?" The man says. "And if we do, you're not here to buy medicine, right?" Lu Cheng responds, "Well, if you have a lab, I'd like to make a deal with you." The scene changes, and they are in a hallway in front of a locked door. The man says, "Based on our agreement, it will be 500 per hour, and we'll charge the full amount, even if you don't use the lab for the entire hour. You can only use the lab for 3 hours." Lu Cheng hands over his card and says, "I'll pay in advance." The man's expression changes completely, and he says that Lu Cheng can do whatever he wants there. He enters, puts on his lab coat, and starts preparing the medicines. First, he prepares the ingredients. For the mutant lizard with green scales, he removes the scales to activate it and adds the neutralizer, fixing the concentration at 35% and maintaining the solution at a constant temperature. He liquefies the condensed moonstone using the laser transmitter, setting it to a specific band to radiate and convert the material to a liquid state. Then, he collects and lets it cool. He cuts a 30G portion of petrified camellia branch, which is extremely hard, and adjusts the medicinal properties of the ingredients, mixing them in the correct proportion and order. After completing the procedure, Lu Cheng finally obtains the muscle and blood enrichment soup. He says, "I finally did it. I didn't think I could do it successfully on my first try. This is a supplement that will be created 10,000 years in the future. I'll only know if my creation was a success after ingesting it." He ingests the potion and initially feels nothing, and it also has no taste. He wonders if he failed the attempt. Suddenly, his body starts vibrating intensely. Lu Cheng falls to the ground, clutching his heart. Veins begin to appear on his neck and face, and his eyes turn white. After a while, he calms down and says that the effects of the supplement are extremely strong, even for his body. He managed to replenish the Kai and blood that were missing, and now has an excess of it. Lu Cheng thinks, "This supplement has incredible effects, and I have no side effects on my body. This is unbelievable." Additionally, the supplement increases the density of my skin, reduces my pores, and lightens my skin. This is the result of over 10,000 years of accumulated knowledge in the martial arts world. Suddenly, the man starts banging on the lab door. Lu Cheng opens the door and asks what happened since the time hadn't run out yet. The man, desperate, says there's no time to explain, and that he must run as fast as possible and exit through the back, because the shop owner had returned. The scene then shifts to a woman who is likely the owner of the clandestine establishment.
The boss then enters the laboratory and takes out a box full of medicines, starting to drink some of them. Suddenly, she says that it wasn't enough, that it wasn't good, that the medicinal effects are too weak, the properties haven't even been noticed, and it won't do her any good. It couldn't even be considered a tonic. Then, on television, television, Maramba Man was on and he said, "How can a martial artist say he can't do it? Get up now, let the past go with the wind and don't let the scars of yesterday affect today. Only by enjoying the present can you reap tomorrow." And with a motivational phrase like that, there had to be product sales afterwards, right? He then offers Dragon testosterone pills. The woman then thinks that, with the rapid development of martial arts, the complementary pharmaceutical industry is changing every day and there are new medicinal improvements being developed every day, forcing the old ones to disappear altogether. She then says, "The reason my family declined so much was because of our conservative thinking, adhering to old habits and resting on our profits. And Xing Chan's medicinal salon is still selling the old medicines from 100 years ago and we've completely lost our competitive edge in the market. If we carry on like this, without new prescriptions, the family business that my father entrusted to me personally will become a curse." The woman then has a full __ for all that and she says, "If we don't have the capacity to develop new products on our own, we'll have to collaborate with experienced master alchemists. Mr. Zhang from the neighboring town developed a new prescription recently, so I need to get my hands on it once and for all. Only then will the family be able to rise from the ashes." Then the man who attended to our protagonist turns up. He then asks his boss if she wouldn't go to the neighboring town today, since she came back much faster than he expected. All he could think in his head was that the little lady was very beautiful and that she even walked elegantly. Her beauty was so overwhelming that he couldn't even see properly, as she looked like a goddess. He then thought that, as a girl from a gradually weakening family, he was the only one who could protect her. In the end, the lovebirds would live happily ever after and he too would be successful in his career and in love. He was determined to conquer all that he had to conquer in his life and it all seemed like marvel to him. The woman then called him by name, which was Ma Fei, and said, "Explain this now. Did you secretly bring someone into my alchemy lab?" And the guy was having a million personalities at once. At the same time as he thought she looked very beautiful angry, he was desperate to say that he didn't let anyone in there. She then told him to forget it and that he didn't have to go back to work tomorrow. She then ended up going into his laboratory. My friends, the woman was very angry. She says she's going to have to wash and disinfect everything again, and certainly the table too. She says that that fucking idiot even let them use her laser activator and controller. Suddenly, she ends up looking into a jar and says, "Hey, but is that a mutant lizard with green scales? They used this activator on it, but the scales, which are the most valuable part, have been removed." Well, I'd never heard of such a preparatory method. It seems that it's someone else with their head in the clouds who wants to develop their own medicines, and developing your own medicines requires the possession of vast pharmaceutical knowledge and also requires a huge amount of money and experimentation. And for someone who doesn't have a laboratory, what kind of thing does that person want to do? But pinning my hopes on something is unrealistic, as that is not what I'm doing right now. The woman then says, "Well, that's alright. As well as working in my lab and using my equipment, I see that this person has also broken a few things. That's really incredible. How many surprises am I going to have today?" She then picks up that broken bottle and, as she picks it up and starts to smell the aroma, she says, "Well, but that appearance, that smell? That would be condensed moonstone, lithified tree root. What kind of combination is this person making? But it's actually making a very strange reaction too, and this medicine I've never seen before in my life." She then takes a drop on her finger and tries it out. Man, how reckless the people in this movie are, huh? They don't even know if it's poison, if they can take it, and they don't care. When she tasted it, she wondered what it was. She was really impressed by what she was seeing in front of her eyes. Then Ma Fei, the guy who was fired, was there all sad, and he said it was all that bastard's fault. And if he'd known, he wouldn't have taken his money. He looks back and says, "My God, I can't believe our story ends here. Oh, God, please let me see my goddess again." Just then, my friends, it seems that God heard his prayers and she really did appear. He then asked her to wait a little while so he wouldn't go. He then happily ran towards her, saying that he knew she called him. He then says that he's not going anywhere, since his place is forever by her side. She then grabs him by the shirt and says, "Right now, who used my lab? I want to see you right now. Or are you going deaf and not listening to what I want to say? I want to see this person now, and if you find him, you can go back to your job with double pay. Do you understand? He then takes out his cell phone and says, well, I have his contact here. He then throws the phone down and says, give me this now. She then thinks that medicine is of the blood type and the effect is strengthening. It's at least 10 times better than the blood strengthening tonics that cost $1,000 on the market. What's more, it even has the effect of improving the user's skin. And on top of all that, the main components are all common ingredients and the production price is less than $100. For sure, this new tonic is world class. She then says, I've finally found you. You're the family's chance to get back on its feet. Our protagonist was meditating for a while. When he opened his eyes, he said that the stellar body refinement technique was as expected of a rank 11 martial arts technique. The ability is incredible according to the potential of the human body and is simply beyond human comprehension. He said, at this rate, I might be able to give birth to a real star in my body. And the natural breathing technique is also phenomenal and has immense power in it. Without the complementary action of this breathing technique, the effects of the stellar body refining technique wouldn't be as good. My vitality has increased a lot as a result. The effects of strengthening the blood and muscles are also incredible. I did 12 servings of those medicines before and, with my current physique, 2 servings a day are more than enough. So I'll have to find a way to do more in 6 days. The protagonist then picks up his cell phone, which was on a call. The woman then said, hello, master. Well, pardon my inconvenience. I'm the person in charge of the Shingshan Medicinal Salon, and my name is Hisusu. I've seen the tonic you left behind, and it's destined to be a product that will change our era. How about a collaboration? The Shingshan Medicinal Salon will spare no effort to publicize this product. The protagonist then, very dryly, says, sure, let's meet in a week. And the woman says, a week? If it's possible, can we see each other now? And so Lu Qing ended up hanging up on the old woman. Poor thing, brother. She then grabbed Ma Fei by the neck again and said, from this moment on, you're in charge of looking for that young master and you have to find him as soon as possible. The sooner, the better. If you find him in 6 days, I'll give you 10,000 for every day you spare. Are you listening to me? Ma Fei couldn't believe what she was saying and told her to keep her word. Ma Fei then thinks of something and says, boss, I think you've got something wrong. The guy who used the lab isn't even 20 years old and, from the looks of it, he's still a student. Is he really the master alchemist you're mentioning? She then became indignant that he was a student and wondered who that person really was. Back in the dream world, our protagonist was beating up some zombies and absorbing each one. Suddenly, however, a very different zombie appeared in front of him and he said, come on, you're my target today, and I'd like to see if I, a rank 1 martial artist, can really take on a rank 4 martial artist like you. And so Lu Chang's battle with that rank 4 zombie began. The zombie began to put a lot of pressure on our protagonist. Lu Chang then said that its strength was really twice as great as his, and he couldn't take those attacks directly. The zombie then begins to attack our protagonist even more, but he goes for the zombie's back, hitting it with a kick. Afterwards, the zombie ends up falling to the ground and looking up, only for our protagonist to be there, ready to kick it again, completely crushing the zombie's head. Lu Cheng says that he died on the front line and, while killing various monsters to protect the city, they are not mere monsters used as XP farms, but people who died defending humanity. They are brave spirits who have broken, and this one was actually a rank 5 martial artist when he was alive. That's why his attacks were so strong, and if it weren't for the fact that he had no intelligence and had lost an arm, which meant he could only fight on instinct, he would certainly never defeat him. And it's been almost a week since I learned the star body refining technique as well as the natural breathing technique and the crystal visualization technique. In that time, my vitality has increased rapidly with the healing of my muscles and the strengthening of my blood, and I've also completely absorbed his fist techniques along with all his memories. If I interact with the secret technique of the art of refining the stellar body and also also the natural breathing technique, I will be able to exceed the power by several, in fact hundreds of times more than I currently can. Just then, some zombies began to rise up around our protagonist. Lu Cheng says that this integrated attack he's going to call Star Impact. The scene then switches to that establishment that measures force. Lu Cheng says, "I'd like to rent an evaluation machine. Is there a room available here, please?" The girl then says, "Hey, kid, why are you back here already? I'm sure it's because the tests are about to start, right? Vitality isn't something that improves overnight, you know?" He then, a bit awkwardly, says, "I know, but I was thinking that maybe she could have made it a little bigger, you know?" Lu Cheng thought, "True, right? This is the second time I've been here in a month, and normally a person only has an assessment every few months, or maybe even every half a year. Even high-level schools only carry out monthly assessment." The girl then starts laughing and says, "Room 206 is available, go ahead, and I wish you all the best." The scene then changes to the testing room, and Lu Cheng is already facing the shiny ball he loves so much. He says, "If it weren't for my abilities improving so quickly, why would I come here to see a mere change in my status? But well, I'll check my vitality first." And by the time he rubs the shiny ball, his vitality was at 15,632, and his martial artist rank was rank 2. He's very impressed, since his vitality had increased a lot and he's even past rank 2 martial artist standards. He thought, it kind of makes sense. The supreme martial arts techniques, along with the most advanced tonics, both from 10,000 years in the future, it would be strange if the results were less than that. He then says, "Alright, now it's time to see my combat power." He moves towards that dummy, hitting it with a full blow. Our protagonist's combat power was 3,137, an absurdly high figure. He says it's more than double the required standard and thinks that maybe it's because of the fist technique, and that if the skill affects combat power, his supreme combat power must be even higher than that. He then says, "Once again, I'm going to test my power." And so, he ends up using a Star Impact on that doll. However, the scene changes and he is already leaving the room. The girl says, "Child, are you finished? And from the look on your face, you seem pretty happy, huh?" He replies, "I'm really very happy." The girl then said happily, "Well then, good luck with your exams. Do your best." Just as he was leaving, he passed another young attendant. She said, "Look, that brat's acting all nice, but he's really cute when he smiles." The girl replied, "Who are you talking about?" The attendant then says, "Senior sister Enai and junior brother too." That girl's name was Enai Shuang, and she was the daughter of the master of the Hongshang Martial Arts Academy. Enai Shuang then said, "I brought my junior brother back from his medicinal bath. By the way, this is the first time I've seen you all flustered like this, isn't it? Did that person come here for an assessment or something?" The girl, not at all amused, says that she must have seen wrong and that the guy was just a normal student, but that he was very cute. June then says, "What's the point of being gorgeous if you can't survive on that in today's society? What matters is proficiency in martial arts, and judging by his posture and clothes, he's just a normal kid. No matter how he measures up, he'll always be the same." However, Enai Shuang began to think, the poor go to school, but true martial arts are for the rich, and the resources needed to cultivate martial arts are very large, which is part of the biggest reason for this kind of saying. Loner has been taking all kinds of tonics since he was young, and his vitality was much higher than others even before he started cultivating. And now that he has practiced all kinds of martial arts techniques, the gap between him and the others continues to grow. Unfortunately, he ended up becoming very arrogant in the process. Enai Shuang then pats him on the head and says, "Don't compare yourself to children who don't have the same status as us. Since you have access to good resources, it's your duty to be stronger than many people and don't forget your origins just for the sake of it." He then tearfully says he was wrong and says, "Sister, I'd like to discuss something with you. I want to see the results of that person's evaluation." And she replies, "Well, why do you want to do that now?" He says, "He looks a bit older than me and he must be a student too. I just want to see if my hard work has paid off. Now, sister, if I don't go now, I'm going to be very anxious. So, please, let's go over there." She then says, "Alright, you've won. Come on, but remember, he's just a poor boy, so don't brag like that." And the boy replied that everything was fine. The clerk then hands her his grades and says, he's the only person who came in for an assessment today. I can pull up his results right here, and he's a student, as expected. But when the girl looked at his notes, she was horrified because it could only be a mistake. What she was seeing with her own eyes was impossible. Her brother then fell to the ground because he couldn't believe it either. He said, that device is certainly broken. The attendant then said, no, it was checked yesterday. And I Shuang then said, so that means these results really are real. He then asked, Xiao Ling, do you have his address or number? She replies, he's not a member, so we don't have any registration information on him. That boy always comes to our Hongchuan Martial Arts Center, so he must live nearby. And I Shuang asks her to contact the available staff and collect information on nearby students. We'll definitely find him quickly, she says. The girl says she understands, and Ai Shuang then says, Lu Cheng, I'll definitely find you. Moving on to our protagonist, he was getting into a cab, and the driver said he'd enjoyed talking to him. Next time, I'll introduce you to my daughter, said the driver. Boy, life is easy for our protagonist. When Lu Cheng left, he said that the guy was very enthusiastic, and if he had known earlier, he would have told him that he was about to take the Level 2 martial arts certification exam at the Martial Arts Association. Then he'd definitely think I was crazy and wouldn't talk to me the whole way. When Lu Cheng went to open the door, a guy tripped and fell. The guy says, his combat power at home was clearly 150, how could this have happened? The people around comment, no chance, the evaluation devices used by the Martial Arts Association are officially customized and much more accurate than those sold around. Another says, he'll have to improve his performance a bit to pass that test. Lu Cheng thinks, accurate like that? That's great for me. I can finally accurately understand my true strength. He then walks up to the receptionist and says, hello, I'd like to know how to take the martial arts certification test. She replied, well, first fill in the application form and then go to room 5203 for the test. He then took the form and went to that room. When he got there, there were many people, and the queue was huge, like the SUS queue. Lu Cheng then thought that the whole thing was a waste of time for him and wondered what he should do now. Some men then said, look over there, see that girl over there? She's here to take the test too, isn't she? And why does such a young girl dare to come for an assessment? I'm worried that her skills aren't bad, but she's so beautiful and strong, isn't she? That's what you call blessed by heaven. Lu Cheng then says, most of the people in the queue are 25, and I'm already considered young here. And she looks much younger than me. Suddenly, then, a gigantic madman who almost didn't make it through the door arrives. The people then say, Ewer has finally arrived. Now it's my time to embark on the path of martial artist, starting a new phase in my life. And a woman says, her love will make it, yes. Suddenly, this gigantic man touches the guy with a finger and says, excuse me. As soon as he looked at the man, he was horrified by his physique, and everyone was saying that he looked very strong, stronger than everyone else there. And that was really incredible. A woman then says, who do you think you are? This is on a first come, first served basis. Don't you understand very well, son? You'd better stand in line. Or do you think you're special? Don't think that just because you're big you can break the rules and do whatever you want. However, the guy who was attending to people said, he can, because I've seen his application form. Xiao Chongfen should be first in the test, since he's a level 3 martial artist. The woman was horrified. How can a level 3 martial artist be here? And then everyone started looking at that guy. The girl then became impressed too, saying that this was very rare, as there are only 10 level 3 martial artists in the whole of Ba City. Lu Cheng then says, in the world of martial artists, strength is everything. With strength, you attain various privileges. The man then says, Zhao Chongfen, start the test. The first test is the blood IQ value. The woman then comments, he's only a level 3 martial artist. It's not like he can become a level 3 martial artist just by taking part. The man says she was right. Suddenly, however, he starts taking the test and gets the incredible value of 107, far exceeding the standard. The people were horrified, saying that it was the first time they had seen a blood IQ above 100 with their own eyes, which was fantastic. The man then says, the second test is the combat power test. The blow that Zhao Chongfen strikes is so powerful that it throws up a wind that knocks down everyone there, except our protagonist and the mysterious girl. The result of the combat power test is 10,831. The man then says, "That's really impressive. Congratulations, Zhao. From now on, you are recognized as a level 3 martial artist by our Ba City Martial Arts Association, and you can enjoy a martial artist's allowance of 30,000 W." When Zhao looked back, he realized that 2 people hadn't fallen with his power, and the 3 of them began to stare at each other. The girl then comments, "Blood value over 100 and combat power over 10,000. That really is a level 3 martial artist." The wind pressure after the punch made it difficult for a level 1 martial artist to stand. He's literally a mobile weapon of destruction. Lu Qing then says, "That's the level of a 3-star martial artist." Then, the girl wondered, what did he mean? If that's the level of a 3-star martial artist, it's hard to even stand firm on the ground under the wind pressure of someone like that. What is this guy trying to pretend? Lu Qing then says, "I can do the test. There's no one else in the queue." The guy says, after seeing that punch, "Is he really still quite calm after all that? That kid really is very determined." The man then says, "Okay, next is Lu Qing. Let's start the test." The man starts smiling and tells him not to get nervous and to keep his heart rate normal. As soon as our protagonist touches the shiny ball again, the man is horrified, as the test came back 15.701. The girl is perplexed, asking, wasn't he 17 or 18? What the hell is going on here? Is his blood full of medicinal herbs? No, my child, his blood is that of a protagonist. That's what you don't understand. That level 3 guy says, a level 2 martial artist at 18, with a blood value at that level? The man then says, relax, don't let Zhao's punch affect you. You can take the combat test as many times as you like. Just hit the way you feel most comfortable. Lu Qing then replies, thanks, but there's no need for that. One punch is enough. And by the time he threw the punch, everyone was watching intently. When Lu Qing threw his punch, everything cracked around him, and his combat power was an incredible 15,709. Lu Qing says, after breaking through with my fist technique, along with star impact and natural breath, my combat power has increased 10 times more than I need for the standard vitality requirement. So that's the beauty of martial arts. The man taking the test said, Student Lu Qing, congratulations. You've passed the rank 1 martial artist assessment. In fact, your skills surpass rank 2 and even rank 3 martial artists. Sorry, but I can't give you your grade right now. I'll report this to the association supervisors right away. The association won't want to let any talent pass them by, let alone a genius like you. The man then rushes off with Lu Qing's test in his hands and says, I'll be reporting this right away, and I'll risk my whole career on it. I'll give you a satisfactory answer, so rest assured. Lu Qing, observing all this, said, well, does that mean I can go home? Our protagonist's back was turned to Zhao, and he said, well, did you want something with me, big man? Zhao then looks as if he's going to punch our protagonist, but ends up holding out his hand to him and says, my name is Zhao Chongfen. Lu Qing shook his hand and introduced himself as Lu Qing. Everyone there was impressed by Lu Qing's talent and wanted to take a photo with him or shake his hand. With so much pressure, Lu Qing started to run away from them all. The scene then changed to outside the building, where 3 women were waiting. One of them says, Senior Sister Yang hasn't left yet, has she? I wonder how well she did, but I won't worry too much about it. A certificate assessment from a rank 1 martial artist is very easy for a genius like her. Another girl agreed, saying that it was true. Suddenly, Lu Qing comes out of the building and asks what Qin Che is doing there. She replies, I should be asking you that, shouldn't I? You're always skipping class and sleeping all day. What are you doing at the Martial Artists Association? Lu Qing thinks, apart from me missing school, how does she know I sleep most of the time? Trying to disguise it, he says, well, I had something to do over there. What are you doing here? The girl then replies, hi, Lu Qing, we're Qin's classmates. I'm Feng Fan, but my friends call me Rice. It's a very peculiar nickname, but we'll accept it, right? Some people have nicknames like Beans and other things, so it's okay. She then introduces another another girl called Su Nua and explains that they have come to accompany the senior sister of the martial arts fighting club, Yang Yuan, who has come to do the assessment. Suddenly, the woman comments that our protagonist was a cat and that he looked very different from Qinche's description. This makes Qinche totally jealous of the two women. Qinche then says, "Have you two little pricks forgotten who looked after you at school?" Lu Qing then touches her sister's head and says, "It's okay, I'm leaving." The girls comment, "Looks like you two have a good relationship, huh?" And Qinche replies, "No way," calling her friends blind traitors. Suddenly, Yang Yuan comes out of the building. The girls ask her how the test went and if she passed. She lowers her head and says she doesn't want to talk about it, as an unexpected incident has occurred and all the assessments have been suspended. She'll probably have to wait until later. The girls ask, "An unexpected incident? What would cause the assessments to be suspended like that?" Yang Yuan replies, "A monster. Actually, no, a demon. That guy is clearly my age, but he has a vitality of 15,701 and a combat power greater than that of a rank 3 martial artist with more than 15,000. I really thought I was very talented, but seeing this guy today made me realize that I'm just a joke next to him." The girls then ask, "What was this guy's name? Do you know?" She replies, "Well, his name was Lu Cheng." The girls were impressed by the name, and Qinche said, "Are you talking about my brother?" Returning to our protagonist, there were several agents on the street looking for someone. People on the street were saying, "Wow, who are these people and what's all the commotion?" Another person replied, "They're from the Hunchuan Martial Arts Academy and I saw that they're looking for someone." A woman comments, "Whoever invoked the wrath of the Hunchuan Martial Arts Academy is really unlucky, huh?" Another says, "These martial arts people are really fierce, and the way they are, I think they'll break their own legs trying to find this person." Lu Qing then thinks, "Hunchuan Martial Arts Academy? That's where I took the assessment before. What's all the fuss about? Oh, whatever, it's got nothing to do with me." He was still getting calls from Ma Fei and decided he wasn't going to answer them at all. And the protagonist thinks, "Is that guy from the medical salon still calling me? I'm going to ignore him whenever he calls me. After all, every prescription in the future could make me rich, but I have to investigate first and see which ones are really worth it." The scene then changes, and our protagonist is already in the dream world, where he activates the AI again. He gives the AI Ellie's nickname and says, "Retrieve my biography now." And she replies, "Got it." The basic data is displayed: name, Lu Cheng, gender, male, lifespan, June of the year 297 until June of the year 383. His martial artist value was level 6, with level 2 permanent access. Let's take a look at his lifetime achievement. Xenotation spot: he became a level 2 martial artist at the age of 18, shocking the entire city of Ba. Xenotation spot: he attended the Prodigy training camp in Dongning province on the recommendation of the Martial Arts Association and was ranked in the top 20 of the training camp. Xenotation spot: that same year, he entered the Dongning Martial Arts University, passing first in the city's entrance exam, 32nd in the province and 145th in the whole country. Xenotation spot: he graduated 3 years later and joined the army, retiring honorably as a captain 5 years later. Xenotation spot: he founded the Academy of Sacred Martial Arts in conjunction with the city of Ba and was promoted to rank 6 martial artist at the age of 45. Xenotation spot: he tried to become a rank 7 martial artist at the age of 50, but failed and died in a monster trap in the city of Ba in July 383. Xenotation spot: martial status, married, with 2 daughters and a son. Xenotation spot: highest rank achieved in the army, captain. Xenotation spot: no extraordinary contribution. Story note, 2 stars. Lu Cheng was amazed by this new information, as all his life information had changed dramatically. This time, he died at the age of 87. He says, "Surely the future can be changed, or at least mine can. A week ago, I was just a rank 4 martial artist who would die at the age of 37, but now I've become a rank 6 martial artist who has lived for 80 years. I even had the chance to become a rank 7 martial artist. However, this is still far from what I want. For the world and the future, this change is pointless. I want to change destiny and improve the course of humanity after 10,000 years of haunting. I need much greater power power than that. A rank 6 martial artist is absolutely nothing. Even a rank 7 master, a rank 8 grandmaster, or a rank 9 martial sage will be useless to face in the future. If I want to change the trajectory of our destiny and change this ending, I'll have to reach the peak of martial arts, thus advancing to rank 10 or even rank 11. Only then will I have a little more hope. And even if it's just a little, I've already chosen this path for my life and I'm not going back. The scene then changes to a man writing on paper, saying, "The stillness of light, movement gives flight, chi has no form, mind and spirit are firm." The spirit grows with the chi and is so long, but with President Xiang's mental strength so abundant, it's only a matter of time before he enters level 7 of the Grandmaster realm. The man then says, "Damn, if President Xiang put all that effort into educating others, it would be much better." The man replied, "Old leader, stop teasing me like that." He was Xiao Yuhe, assistant director of the Ba Martial Arts Association, level 6. He says, "It's not that I don't want some geniuses appearing in our city of Ba, but you know as well as I do that, firstly, Ba doesn't have a century-old family to succeed, and secondly, we don't have a good capacity to provide a large amount of resources. Any contact with the smallest of talents would come out by all means, and there's nothing I can do about it." The man then says, "President, it's almost time for that training camp. It's been years since we sent anyone to take part. For an organization as big as Ba's, then forget about whimsy. The biggest shame for us would be not sending anyone, and this time no matter what, you have to protect Ba's reputation, right?" The director then says, "Man, I don't believe it. I want nothing more than to discover a genius. And if I were able to be in a position at the top and possess all those resources, I wouldn't keep writing all these gods here, since leveling up is an impossible thing." Suddenly, a woman enters the room in despair and says, "In the martial artist evaluations, something has happened." He asks her why she was so upset, since she hadn't even knocked on the door. He asks what happened to her, and she replies, "I'm sorry, but this is very important right now." The assessor said there was some very important information in the assessment. This came up, a level 2 martial artist aged 18 who has the battle power of 15,000. He takes the information from her hand as quickly as possible and says, "Show me the recordings now." She replies, "All right." So he starts watching Liu Chang's videos. The director then comments, "A fighting technique from the perfect realm." The girl asked what that meant. The director explains, "It's terminology used in the martial arts world. You're not a martial artist, so you shouldn't know. Cultivating a perfect realm fighting technique at that age is something that less than 10 people in the world are capable of. In fact, even if it is a perfect realm fighting technique, it is impossible for a base of 15.7 of a blood IQ value to obtain a battle power of 15,000. After all, a perfect realm fighting technique can at most only double the battle power. And this boy is only 18 years old and has a battle power 10 times the standard average IQ value. And he came from an ordinary family." The director then concludes, "That must be it. There's definitely no other explanation." The director happily takes the woman on his lap, getting very excited. At this point, the woman is already enchanted by the director's grip. He then says, "This lucky 1 in a billion martial artist has turned up right in the city of Ba." The girl asks what he means by lucky martial artist. He explains, "Among people who cultivate the martial gift, there is an exceptional gift. They will awaken such enormous power that ordinary people can't even imagine. The blood and IQ value will awaken, and so they will possess a unique gift. Some can cause eruptions, others are lightning fast, and these people are known as lucky martial artists." The director then gets ready as quickly as possible and says, "Quickly, we must personally go to Liu Chang's house to pay a proper visit to his parents and thank them for giving birth to such a wonderful son as him." The girl replies, "All right, I'll notify the driver to get everything ready right away." Suddenly, a man walks up to Inai Shuang and says, "I managed to find him, Mrs. Inai." She asks, "What do you mean?" The boy replies, "His name is Liu Chang, and he's a student at the Ba Institution. His father works at the Shengxing Docks and Logistics, and his mother works as a cashier at Ja's supermarket. He also has a younger sister. The whole family must live near Block 15 of the Sapphire Statue." He then comments that it was all great and asks, "Inai, why are you looking for this person? Has he annoyed you in some way?" "Ma'am, trust me, he's just a kid from an ordinary family. There's no need for you to look for him. She replies, shut up now, it's not that. He then starts calling someone, and she comments, I knew they'd be quick, but I didn't expect them to be so quick. She says, you go and buy expensive presents suitable for the parents of a young girl. Now, the man replies, okay, got it, and leaves. She concludes, I've finally found you, Lu Cheng. Switching the scene to Lu Cheng, he was in his room meditating. Suddenly, a voice said, Brother Lu, come here quickly. Someone is looking for you. He then gets up and says he's going. Lu Cheng thinks, really? It's been a long time since I heard someone call me brother. But someone is looking for me. What could it be? When he goes outside, he sees several people looking for him. The man then quickly gets up and introduces himself. I'm the president of the Baiha Martial Artists Association, Xiao Yuha, and I've come especially to talk to you about the results of the assessment. Lu Cheng thinks, the president of the Martial Artists Association? He must be at least 6 stars. Lu Cheng then says, nice to meet you, President Xiao. My name is Lu Cheng. The president replies, not bad. He's not scared and he's very calm. His temperament alone is something very rare to see. Lu Cheng then asks, okay, but who is this woman here? His mother replies, oh, she's Miss Enai Shuang from the Hanchuan Martial Arts Center. Enai Shuang says, nice to meet you, Lu Cheng. We've met before at the Martial Arts Center. Do you remember me? He replies dryly, yes, hello, Miss Enai. He sounds like a robot. The director then says, Mr. Lu Cheng, I'll be very brief. On behalf of the Baiha City Martial Artists Association, I have formally come to talk to you about your Level 2 Martial Artist badge. Your battle power, as seen in your incredible performance during the test, has already exceeded many Level 2 martial artists. The protagonist's sister and his parents were horrified by this. The president continues, your monthly allowance will be issued as that of someone at Level 3. Not only that, but in view of your excellent talent in martial arts, we have decided to present you with a monetary reward of $1 million as a form of encouragement. At that moment, our protagonist's parents' souls simply left their bodies, thinking it was all a dream. The president then says, I hope you will be able to continue working hard on your martial gift journey and continue to achieve more brilliance. Lu Cheng replies, thank you very much for all the encouragement and support given by the association. But there's nothing in this world for free, and if the association is trying to give me this much, I'm going to repay all the kindness. May I ask what the president would like me to do? The president then says, really, kid, you're broadening my horizon. He then takes a letter out of his jacket and says, I'll be frank. We hope you'll enter the talent training camp in Dongning province. Enai Shuang asks, President Xiao, did you say training camp? She explains, it is indeed a training camp that brings together all the martial artists drawn by lot, but it is also a place that destroys talent. Once, a young man with the greatest potential from our martial arts center attended this training camp. The once shrewd and full of himself was unable to even recover from the shock he received at the training camp and became just an ordinary person. Lu Cheng, your future is very bright. There's no need for you to take such a risk. The president then says, she's right. There are indeed risks. That place selects the real talents. The most talented people in this city are only considered commoners compared to them. But you are very different, Lu Cheng. Looking at your skill and potential, the heights you can reach are greater than theirs. But I will respect your decision. What will you choose? Lu Cheng takes the letter and says, you're right, Chairman. I also believe that I haven't reached my limit yet. The chairman then says, okay, I'll come and pick you up in 2 days. I won't bother you anymore. He then says he'll see Lu Cheng in 2 days and leaves. Lu Cheng sits down and says, Miss Enai, I want you to tell me why you're here today. She looks embarrassed and says, well, he looks much better than in the photos. She then says, I've come here today to pass on an invitation to Mr. Lu Cheng. An invitation to take up the position of honorary disciple of our Hanchuan Martial Arts Center. Lu Cheng asks what an honorary disciple is and what it does. She explains that an honorary disciple doesn't have to show up for regular training and can go whenever they want. All the lessons and equipment are free, and even her own father can be her teacher. She says that there he will receive the best possible assistance and that it works more like a title. She says he won't have to take on any extra responsibility. Enai Shuang thinks, if I can spread the word that there's a level 2 or even level 3 star 18-year-old old at our martial arts center, our popularity will explode. I can't wait for parents to enroll their children there. Lu Qing then turns down the invitation, leaving Ni Shuang indignant. She told him that they were still discussing his benefits and that he didn't need to refuse right away. He replies, I can even be an honorary member, and you can also announce that I train at the center, but I won't be a disciple. I don't really need that title. I can join you if you accept these terms, otherwise, no deal. But of course, I'll still do tests at the center in the future, not least because it's the closest place to my home. Ni Shuang thinks for a moment and says it's a done deal, but the honorary title should be exclusive to the Hanchuan Martial Arts Center. She adds, we'll send your pension directly to your house every month, about $1,000. Well, I won't bother you anymore. See you later. And so Ni Shuang leaves too. When Lu Qing looks at his parents, they are delighted with everything that is happening. His mother says, Lu Qing, I'm not really dreaming, am I? A reward of $1 million and a pension of $1,000. His father then comments, that guy really was the president of the Martial Arts Association, and he came here in person. Lu Qing, since when are you a level 2 martial artist? They asked what was wrong with him. Lu Qing takes his mother's hand and says, this is all real. I really have become a level 2 martial artist. Mom, you no longer have to work the night shift and stay up late, damaging your health. Dad, you won't have to suffer back pain because of your job anymore. Your back has suffered enough. Now that I have money, you'll finally be able to stop working. He thinks that this is everyone's dream, to retire their parents so that they no longer have to work. Changing scenes, in the philanthropy room, the owner of the laboratory says, it's been a week and I still don't have his name. I've read all the documents of the pharmacists who have registered recently, but I still haven't found anything. Where did this genius pharmacist come from? I can't find him anywhere. The drug he created and the studies done on it have given shocking results. Not only is it multiple times stronger than class 1 and 2 drugs, it's also stronger than most class 3 drugs. It also has dozens of benefits, almost no side effects, and a very long shelf life. Its production cost is less than $3,000, while class 3 drugs can cost tens of thousands of dollars. This is certainly the most innovative drug of the century. She then says, shit, where is this guy? He can't have just disappeared out of nowhere. Ma Fei then says, Miss, I found him. She quickly gets up and asks where he was. Ma Fei points and says, right over there, on the TV. The TV showed a picture of Lu Qing and said, yesterday, a martial arts genius appeared in our city. He passed the level 2 martial artist test at just 18 years old, and his battle power exceeds the average of level 3 artists. These results are beyond anything ever seen before among young people of the same age in this city. This genius is called Lu Qing and is currently a student at the Baya Institute. She was amazed that he was only a student. Switching scenes to the Sea of Trees, we see that Lu Qing was running at high speed. He says, I didn't think I could use all the power of the fixed star on myself. With the quadrupled power of the fixed star and the dreamland absorption technique, my agility reaches new limits. My speed is at least 5 times that of a level 2 martial artist. I'll call it the cloud chasing step. He then reaches the top of a mountain and looks at the sunset. He thinks, so this is how the natural breathing technique should be used. With every breath I take, I absorb energy from the air, and with that, my body is always recovering. I can keep pushing my limits. Over time, I can feel everything around me, all the changes taking place in nature, harmonizing with the universe. He then launches a blow that pierces the clouds. He is very happy about this, saying that he has finally made progress. His blood and IQ have increased significantly, and the power of the fixed star has also increased. He thinks he can now use it at least 6 times stronger. He then thinks, this gain is really quite incredible for me. I had only come here to Lonely Mountain to get some ingredients for the pill. I didn't expect to advance in cultivation like this. I've also almost finished my spiritual muscle tonic. The effects of the tonic diminish over time, so I'm going to improve the nutrition pill, and the medicinal value of these herbs has not yet been discovered in this area. If it weren't for the system, I'd never find these little things here. I've even placed an order for the herbs at the foot of the mountain, so surely it must be ready by now. This is the perfect chance for me to see how fast I can get down the slope. He then activates his Cloud Stalker step and quickly reaches the base of the Lonely Mountain. There, he finds finds a man crouching down. He says, "Hello, I placed an order for herbs here. Are they ready yet?" The man replies, "Oh, you've arrived, have you? Don't worry, they're ready. All the ones you ordered are here." Lu Qing picks up the herbs and sees that the yonglin grass and the luanshuan leaf are all there and very fresh. He then says, "Right, I want 10 bags of each. From what we agreed, that's 500 a bag, right?" The man then replies, "What's the hurry, my boy? It should be 1,000 a bag, not 500, and you should buy all these herbs." Out of nowhere, the man adopts a greedy tone. Lu Qing became serious and asked, "What do you mean?" In the back, there were some men hiding. The merchant says, "Just like I said, kid, you're not local to the forest of trees, are you? When you're here, you have to follow our rules. Didn't your parents teach you that sometimes it's better not to resist?" Lu Qing replies, "Ah, so you mean you want to force me into your schemes?" The shopkeeper then says that he better not resist, because all those guys are level 1 martial artists, and he could even call the police, but there are no security cameras there, and they'd never believe a foreigner like him. So, if you don't want to listen to me, don't blame me for giving you a taste of our fists. Our protagonist then touches a gigantic rock and shatters it as if it were glass. After destroying the rock, he asks, "In this situation, when should I stop resisting?" All the men kneel before him, apologizing. They say, "Sir, we were completely wrong and blinded by our greed. We're really sorry for that, Lord." Lu Qing then says, "Well, now that we've understood each other, I'll take these things and leave." The shopkeeper replies, "Of course, you can take everything, and it's on the house." Lu Qing says, "By the way, there's something your parents should have taught you too. Trust is of the utmost importance when starting a business, so be honest with your customers." The men thank him for the advice and promise to engrave it in their hearts for the rest of their lives. From today, it's a new page in our lives. Lu Qing thinks, "Yes, I was even going to pay these guys, but they said it was on the house. Well, whatever. Now I've got the ingredients and I think it's time to go to the training center." The men comment to each other, "What kind of world is this? Are all the new students insane like that? He smashed that rock with one hand. He must be at least a 3-star martial artist. That's a bit absurd, isn't it?" The scene changes to the next day, in Dongning province, at the talent training camp. Lu Qing thinks, "Is this the training camp? This place looks more like a military base. These military insignia, is it compulsory to wear them here?" He then remembers that his insignia was placed on a pedestal by his mother, and he forgot to bring it. He wonders if this will cause problems. A man comes up and asks, "What city are you from? And why are you here alone?" Lu Qing replies, "I'm from Baiha City and I had some problems, so I ended up being late." Some were whispering, "Baiha City? But didn't they already enter here yesterday? Why is there still one more?" Another commented, "He must have taken the place at the last minute and didn't even have a badge." And another says, "Wow, after not sending anyone for 2 years, the city of Baiha sent 2 students at once." The man then asks, "You've come alone, haven't you? Are you Lu Cheng, the student the president of the Martial Arts Association mentioned?" Some laugh and say, "Oh, so that's why, huh? He's the Martial Arts Association president's favorite. That's incredible, isn't it? Having connections with the president of the Baiha Association is more impressive than being a 3-star martial artist. He must have received a lot of pampering behind the curtains, right?" The man tells the students to shut up and says, "You can enter together with the city of Qinwan. As soon as you enter, we'll start the entry ceremony. You can leave your bags on the ground over there, and we'll send someone to put them away afterwards." Lu Qing does as the man said and thinks, "Why do we have to go in groups for the induction ceremony? It doesn't look like this is going to be a normal ceremony." As soon as everyone enters, the doors close and everyone is startled, wondering what is going on. The man then says, "Your mission is to find your way out of this place, which is on the other side of the passage, and you have to do it alone. If you succeed, you will pass the ceremony. If you fail, you'll be sent back to your hometown. Good luck." Everyone is very scared, as no one has explained anything. This was supposed to be the entrance ceremony, so why was there this test? Suddenly, the ground opens up and everyone falls. Apparently, they all managed to land well. They wonder what kind of place that was. Lu Qing then looks towards the end of the corridor, where there is a door, and begins to meditate for a while, wondering what is there. He thinks, as I imagined, it's not just an ordinary passage, but what are these dark beings? He says that the effect of his mental strength is very useful, like a comic book superpower. The man then says, I expected it to be a much more elaborate trap, and this is very boring. Another says, Linu, you knew they were going to do the ceremony this way from the start, didn't you? Why didn't you tell us? I ended up getting hurt because of you. Linu replies, you don't have the slightest bit of adaptability and you still call yourself a martial artist? You better not go around saying that you're a genius from Chinwon City and that you took part in the talent training camp. When you leave, you'll ruin my image. A woman then tells them to stop fighting. The guy says, we're all from the same town, and it wasn't easy for us to be here at this training camp. I think we should work together. Now the most important thing is to think of a way to pass the test. The other replied, you're right. All of us from Chinwon City should work together. It would be terrible if we lost someone. After all, my friends, this is the famous talent training camp, so of course the entrance test won't be that simple. Another comments, and now it looks like we have someone extra here. I wonder if this good-hearted stranger would be willing to explore this place for us. Some say it's not a good idea, while others say it is, because if there is a trap, he would be the one to die. Lu Cheng, smiling, says, well, if you don't feel like going, then you can excuse me, you coward. The man then says, well, that means he's taking the initiative, doesn't it? Baiha boy, you'd better try hard. If you do well, maybe you can join us. Lu Cheng then turns to him and says, predators walk alone, only prey gather in pack. This leaves the others speechless. The man, furious, replies, how dare you call me prey? You can be sure I'll kill you here. Suddenly, several red balls fall to the ground and they wonder what they are. They realize that they were mechanical puppets. The man says, even the weakest mechanical puppet is much stronger than a rank 1 martial artist, and there are so many of them here. The people at the training camp are trying to kill us. Lu Cheng thinks, they say that mechanical puppets can be programmed to fight all day with high-level martial artists, and the best ones can match rank for martial artists. Even if it costs a lot to create a mechanical puppet of that level, it's my first time seeing it in real life. The man continues, when activated, the puppets will attack anything that moves near them. Level 1 mechanical puppets are made of a special alloy, and their fists are very hard. Another guy mocks Lu Cheng, saying that he's not even a rank 1 martial artist and that he'll be knocked out with just one punch. Suddenly, one of the mechanical puppets attacks Lu Cheng, but to everyone's surprise, he holds the blow with just one hand. Lu Cheng comments, wow, that's it, and breaks the puppet's arm with just one tug. Everyone wonders if that boy is really human. The man, amused, says, wow, they almost fooled us. Huh, they're not level 1 puppets, they're just flawed puppets, probably as strong as training dummies. They just look really scary. Otherwise, how could anyone pass the test with so many mechanical puppets like that? By the way, this guy is no rank 1 martial fighter. He only got here by luck and wouldn't stand a chance against a real mechanical puppet. People wondered if it was true or not. The guy says, well, explaining things to dumb people like you is a waste of saliva. If you still don't believe me, watch me go through them. He kicks one of the mechanical puppets and a piece falls to the ground. Everyone says that the puppets really are fake. The guy says, didn't I tell you? But at that moment, the puppet moves and punches the guy in the face, throwing him against the wall. The man shouts, that's not possible. They're not level 1 puppets, they're level 2. People wonder what that person's rank is. Someone says, every mechanical puppet has a core. You just need to hit the core to finish them off, but there are a lot of them. Lu Cheng said that it was getting too boring for him. The man taking care of the test comments, but how is that possible? What's happening in that place? All the puppets stopped working immediately. They weren't bought recently. They've all been destroyed now by a bunch of kids who have reached rank 1 and were able to destroy level 2 puppets. Lu Cheng then says, the second challenge has started, hasn't it? I've finally found you. So come to me, doorman. The man replies, since when did I become the doorman for the second challenge? Lu Cheng says, I hope you don't disappoint me. Lu Cheng uses the stalking cloud step and star impact times 10. The system then announces that 08 has been disqualified. Just then, a woman appears, with a confident pose, as if she'd just had a haircut, and asks, did you like it? Behind her appears a man who looks like he's wearing pajamas, so tacky are his clothes. He says, today Today is another day full of happiness and satisfaction. Why are you here, Shuiqing? She replies, don't call me that, Major Xiao Junqin. And if you're so free, come and look at the materials with me. He says, right, Lieutenant Colonel. So, what's the quality of the students at this year's camp? She replies, no matter how hard I try, only 8 have reached our standards of expectation, and they are all professional martial artists of weekend gift. The man then comments, those 5 seem pretty normal, all gifts of strength. But these 3, an agility style, a defense style, and also a psychic style. The Lieutenant Colonel says, this psychic martial artist is the most impressive of all. Lin Xia, 18 years and 8 months old, and her powers awakened less than a year ago. She's already close to rank 1 mentalist. She's very talented in martial arts, almost rank 2. The Major then says, that's really very good. She really is a genius, just like you in the past. The Lieutenant Colonel replies, cut it out. I put her as a priority in this year's training camp. The Major says, the others aren't so bad either. And when he looked at the system, he was amazed at what he was seeing. In fact, he couldn't believe his eyes. The scene changes to Lin Xia, who had just killed the last mechanical puppet. She thinks, I sense something quite dangerous there, the ability of someone of at least rank 3. And seeing as they didn't come to stop me, it must mean it's not part of the assessment. I think it's some supervisor in charge of the assessment or something. She arrives and sees some people with guns and shields. She thinks, hey, what's going on in this room? There are a lot of people on alert, but what are they like that against? Is something happening that I can't predict? With her technique, she observes what is happening through the wall. She says, well, that's 2 people fighting over there. Why is one opponent human? The evaluation targets weren't supposed to be just robots. Who is that boy? Suddenly, in the middle of that vision, the boy looks at her with such a menacing gaze that it sends her into shock. Immediately, she creates a psychic wall in front of the door and, completely horrified, asks herself, what is that? The feeling I had was one of fear. It completely took over my heart. It was extremely terrifying for me. Then they say, Lieutenant Colonel and Major. The Major asks, what's the situation there? Where is the supervisor responsible for this? They say, the surveillance cameras near the entrance have all been destroyed, so we have no way of knowing what's going on there now. We lost contact with the supervisor 3 minutes ago and we're coming to report this to you. The Major says, give me more information on everyone who got past passage 12 immediately. The Lieutenant Colonel then says, that's no longer necessary. Suddenly, the wall breaks in half and Lu Qing arrives. Everyone who was alert breathed a sigh of relief, as it was only 1 student. However, they suddenly realize that Lu Qing is holding someone. The Lieutenant Colonel then says, you're not the student from Qinwan City. Who are you? He replies, I'm Lu Qing, from Baihe City. The Major comments, boy, that kid's got guts. Huh? Putting aside that you recklessly destroyed those very expensive mechanical puppets, you also defeated the supervising instructor. You really do stand out, kid. Lu Qing says, it was a misunderstanding. I thought it was part of the assessment and he was really strong, so I didn't hold back. Suddenly, an aura begins to emanate from the Lieutenant Colonel, and she looks seriously at Lu Qing. Her aura touches Lu Qing, and so it decreases in intensity. The Lieutenant Colonel then says, congratulations on passing the entrance assessment, student Lu Qing. Now, please go and rest. A member of staff will guide you to the dormitories. Lu Qing ended up agreeing. The Lieutenant Colonel says, that kid was really crazy. I watched the recording. The mechanical puppets are rank 2 and were nothing more than toys in his hands. The Major then comments, but it's written here in his records that his vitality is only 15 and his combat power 15,000. Would that really be possible? Because to me it seems silly. He then says that she was able to assess our protagonist with her psychic energy alone, and she replies, I felt absolutely nothing coming from him and he had no reaction either. The Major then asks, so how do you plan to deal with that monster? She replies, I haven't decided anything with that yet. However, the statistics on his record aren't accurate. He then says that he's going to make it a high priority, along with my Lin. From what it looks like now, this year's selection will be very, very interesting. Lu Qing thinks, was that a hint of psychic energy? Instructor Dong's psychic power is at least 5 times stronger than mine, and I withdrew all my psychic energy at that time. I wonder if she's discovered anything. The man then says, Student Lu, it's time for your meal. Let's go to the canteen and get something to eat. I'll also take you to the dorms afterwards. Lu Qing replies, thank you very much for that, and I'm also sorry for the inconvenience I've caused. Speaking of which, I can eat as much as I like, can't I? My appetite has only grown a little recently. The man replies, don't worry, you can eat as much as you like for your first meal. The feast was gigantic, and after a while, Lu Qing had eaten so many dishes that he couldn't even count. He comments, this is super delicious. I'd like to eat 5 more dishes. Actually, no, you can bring 10 dishes. Oh, and I want that over there too. Suddenly, a girl appears and says, Student Lu Qing, correct? I'm Yang Yuan, and I'm also a representative of Baihe City. We met at the martial artists assessment. Do you remember that? Could I sit here? Lu Qing replies, the food here is unlimited. You can go and get more yourself. She thinks, I'm not here just to eat, you idiot. Besides, didn't you say it was unlimited? Why are you being overprotective then? Lu Qing then says, I remember the president saying that the city of Baihe had 1 more representative. But what's going on there? The girl replies, you must have misunderstood a little, since Baihe City currently sends representatives every year. It's just that hardly anyone has managed to pass the entrance assessment for years and years. Even if they managed to pass the assessment, they would be asked to leave because they didn't get enough points. After all that hard work by our city, they ended up just being a stepping stone for others. Nobody wants to come because of this bad track record. Lu Qing asks, well, I see. What are these points you were talking about then? She replies, points are like currency here. If you want to use the resources at the training ground, you have to spend your points. Things like using training equipment, asking instructors about cultivation, getting tonics, and even securing your passage. Everything in this place requires points, and there are a lot of them. The monster meat you're eating now is exclusive to the military ration, and you'll only be able to eat more of it if you spend your points. So far, only 3 people in the entire training camp have earned points. Xiao Junqin, overhearing the conversation, is impressed. Only 3? How did they do it? Yang Yuan replies, we can only get points by passing tests or assessments. They got points for passing the entrance exam. The first is Chao Yong, a rank 2 martial artist awakened in the city of Yonglin. He has a gift called Stone Skin. Next on the list is Meng Jinhe, a rank 2 martial artist awakened in the city of Donggang. He has the gift of super speed and is extremely fast. And last, but not least, rarer than an awakened martial artist, there is a mentalist among us who has the psychic gift. Her gift and ability are said to be the strongest in this year's training camp. Truly, no student can compare to this girl's powers. Her name is Xiaolin. Just then, Xiaolin walks past them and sees our protagonist eating a gigantic chicken. She recognizes him immediately, remembering the fear she felt when she saw his psychic presence. Xiaolin wonders what that demon is doing there, eating as if nothing was happening. She feels intrigued and at the same time admired by the calm and confidence that Lu Qing exudes. Perhaps, like many others, she too will begin to develop feelings for him. After all, wherever Lu Qing goes, he seems to leave a strong impression on the people around him. After that, Lu Qing sees Xiaolin and comments, look who's there. The girl asks, well, do you know her? He replies that they met briefly. Lu Qing then says, didn't you say that only 3 people passed the assessment? The girl replies, they say that a 4th person also passed, but the rumors about this person are simply too absurd. As well as being extremely strong, this person managed to destroy practically all the level 2 mechanical puppets single-handedly. What's more, this person is said to be a demented maniac who even beat up the supervising instructor to the point where he had to be admitted to hospital. And we're talking about a looking fu. At that moment, Lu Qing knew they were talking about him. He scowled and said, no, there can't be such a person. It's impossible. I really don't believe it. However, he thought that instructor was really tough. In fact, everyone here is really talented. Even I, the monster who shook by city, am just another one in the crowd. The girl then says, don't worry, Lu Qing. I believe in you and, with your skills and talent, with some more training time here at the camp, you can become as strong as them. He thanks the girl for her kindness, but some people people come up behind her and say, "You're student Lu Cheng, right? Because you destroyed 18 mechanical puppets in the entrance assessment and beat up the supervising instructor, who is still unconscious in hospital, we need to take you in for questioning. Please come with us." Both the girl and everyone else around her were impressed by this. Lu Cheng then stood up and said that he understood, but he was still very hungry and asked if he could take another portion to go. The men, incredulous, agree. Lu Cheng then apologizes and says, "I'll have to go now." The girl, still frightened, says it's alright. Everyone is amazed to realize that the rumors were true and that the monster really existed, being the fourth legendary person, in fact Lu Cheng from the city of Bai. The girl began to rave, becoming enraged and ashamed. This was just a little of what she was feeling after discovering all this. The scene then shifts to the command and control center. Lu Cheng addresses the lieutenant colonel, who says, "You really are someone exceptional, student Lu Cheng. But you've spent half our annual budget in the blink of an eye. Each mechanical puppet is worth tens of millions, and besides, none of them can be repaired. So, congratulations to you, However, after a discussion, we decided not to take any action against you. After all, you were only doing what you were supposed to in your assessment, so it's not your fault." The major then enters with 3 other people and says, "Ah, kid, you're already here, right? Perfect. All those who passed the assessment are here now." Lu Cheng then looks at the other 3 people who are just as strong as he is. The lieutenant colonel says, "Alright, first of all, congratulations to everyone for passing the entrance assessment. You really did very well, and in this training camp, the stronger you are, the more resources you get. I'm going to give you the points and rewards you deserve for passing the assessment. Once you've accumulated a certain amount of points, they'll be stored on a points card. So, here are your cards." One of the guys says, "So, you mean this is the gold points card the professor mentioned before I came here? And there are another 100 points here." The little redhead says, "Great, now I'm in the lead." Xiao Lin comments, 100 points? That's enough to get the legendary instructor, the top-level psychomentalist boss, to give me one-on-one training. Suddenly, they realized that Lu Cheng's card was white. They didn't quite understand why his card was that color. Lu Cheng then turned the card over and said, "A card with white dots? I've never heard of that before. This isn't an empty card, is it?" The card read, "Monster Meat Restaurant, 5 points per meal, training room, 10 points per hour, training with ordinary instructor, 30 points per session, training with chief instructor or deputy chief instructor, 100 points per session." Lu Cheng then comments that eating meat seems to be the only useful thing on that card. The major then says, "Kid, what are you talking about? Be grateful for what you have. Your card actually has 1,000 points, and if it hadn't been for our chief instructor, who stopped the supervisors from taking action against you, you'd be in debt for the damage you caused." The other participants were stunned to discover that he had 1,000 points, but one of them was smiling at the situation. He then says, "I thought this training camp was only about the skills of the participant. I didn't know there were special privileges here. That's really very disappointing." The red-haired boy then asks, "What kind of crazy connection are they giving you now?" Xiao Lin intervenes and says, "Don't you know what he did during his assessment?" And the other replies, "Of course we know. The rumors are that he bribed students and instructors. What's more, the supervising instructors are all at least rank 3 martial artists. Only a rank 4 martial artist would be able to defeat them. And even if he had the strongest physical gift, it would still be impossible. Besides, with that body, it doesn't even look like he's improved his vitality. If the training camp is for those who are stronger to have more resources, how about you prove your worth to me right now?" The major then stands up to try to stop him, but the lieutenant colonel stops him. Lu Cheng, smiling, says, "Are you sure about this?" The man replies, "Enough small talk. I want to see if you can get past my stone skin. If you take one step back, I'll kill you." However, at that moment, Lu Cheng just stabs his opponent in the forehead, throwing him far, far away, impressing everyone with his strength. Lu Cheng debauchedly comments, "Well, he's the one who asked me to hit him, so he can't make me pay for it." After demonstrating some of his strength, he asks if he can leave. Just as he was leaving, the lieutenant colonel says, "Student Lu Cheng, what are your plans for your training? If you use your points, you can have me as your instructor." He replies, "Thanks for that, boss, but there's no need. I have more important things to do." The major then comments, "Look, this kid's got fiber, huh? More important than receiving private training from the command's chief instructor?" And Lu Cheng replies, "Yes, and now I'm going. In fact, I'm going to bed." At that moment, my friends, the major laughs too much at the protagonist's face, saying saying that he was too funny. They then watch Lu Cheng on the big screen, and the major says, "That boy really went to sleep. I can't believe it." And her, "What's she doing there? There are no resources in the dormitory." The major replies, "It's the first time I've come across such an interesting talent. Let's just let him do what he wants." The lieutenant colonel then replies, "You don't understand. He's a kind of high-level whetstone, and this boy can stimulate the growth of others." The major then comments, "A whetstone? I'm worried that this stone is stronger than all the blades here." And she replies, "You still don't remember our time, do you? That person, Ding Peng?" He then replies, "Of course I do. Just thinking about him makes my chest burn. At that time, he was stronger than everyone in the training camp and put everyone under his feet. He deserved the title of king." The lieutenant colonel then says, "You're right. People who have a gift of the physical kind have a huge advantage over others in the early stages and can easily reach a combat power of over several thousand. They can even defeat enemies above their own rank. However, skills such as speed, observation, judgment, experience, and strategic tactics are essential. A skill is not strong on its own, and in the process of growing and accumulating experience, people who rely solely on their power granted by gifts of the physical kind will eventually disappear." And that's probably Lu Cheng's future too. While they were talking, Lu Cheng was in an alternative world, facing a muscular zombie. After finishing off that zombie, Lu Cheng comments, "He was a rank 6 martial artist when he was alive, on the same level as President Xiao Yuha of the Martial Arts Association. I'm not surprised he's that strong. If I hadn't used all my physical energy to block that attack, I would surely have died." He then reflects, "Martial arts and combat experience, compared to improving my vitality, are my real assets to gain in my dreamscape. Foot movements, fist techniques, palm techniques, leg techniques, and spear techniques, as well as sword techniques. Human strength is limitless, and it's impossible for anyone to be talented at everything. However, I'm standing on the shoulders of countless people, multiple faces, and no flaws or blind spots, and that's my path in martial arts, the complete martial arts." He continues thinking, "I also use physical energy to think, and if it weren't for that, I wouldn't even be able to withstand a single attack from that zombie. It's a shame that my physical energy is of the most basic kind and that I can only use it against zombies for now. I don't think it will be able to do much against a rank 6 martial artist, so I'll have to improve my physical energy training." And he says to himself, "Focus inwards, without any external distractions. Engage your subconscious and refine your mind." Lu Cheng touches his forehead and suddenly a power takes over his body. When everything cracks, he comments, "Finally, I've made progress again." He then invokes the skills interface and comments, "It's been a while since I've had a good look at my biography. I wonder what changes have taken place." As he reviews the information, he notices some changes in his system, the most notable being that he came first in the city, first in the province, and 53rd in the country. What's more, he managed to reach 7-star level at the age of 65. Lu Cheng, reading this, is very impressed and says, "A rank 7 martial master, so I really have become a rank 7 martial master. If this were in ancient times, this power would be similar to that of a feudal lord. Even in my current world, that position is extremely high." He thinks, "I've already become a martial master, so my rating and access permissions must have increased too, right?" He then searches for advanced star body refining techniques, natural breathing technique, and crystal visualization technique. They appear on the interface, and he comments, "As I thought, with level 3 access permissions, I can access higher level techniques." However, he comes across a scroll and asks what it is. When he touches the scroll, a system opens, revealing the title, Divine Illumination of the King of Hell. The introduction reads, "Created by Duan Yifeng, a rank 11 powerhouse of the World Martial Alliance, incorporated into the Fired Project." Lu Cheng is impressed by the technique, realizing that, as well as being extremely powerful, it has no restrictions and is unimaginable. He comments, "This really is incredible. No wonder it's in a selection of combat skills. It's an art designed especially for psychic mentalists, including techniques such as using psychic energy and battle tips. But most importantly of all, this art is completely different from all other psychic arts. The essence of the divine illumination of the King of Hell is to use psychic energy to create another body within the martial artist, in other words, a second me or clone. It is so intricate that it duplicates the martial artist's muscles, cells, and even genes. All this with a single objective, to strengthen himself in all areas without leaving a single opening." Lu Cheng continues, the first level of the divine enlightenment of the King of Hell is to use psychic energy to strengthen the organs and, as a result, amplify vitality. This is exactly what I need right now. I already have ways of applying my combat power, but my basic vitality is still unchanged, and my vitality has always been what has prevented me from improving. If I can overcome this obstacle, I could improve all my stats. Using psychic energy to affect a martial artist's vitality is quite incredible. Lu Cheng then says, I really underestimated the knowledge of martial arts accumulated over 10,000 years. After all, in that era, this art couldn't even be conceived, let alone created. Lu Cheng thinks, Duan Yifeng. I remember that name. An exceptional talent like that is one in a million, and he is probably in existence above all, even among all the powerful level 11. And yet, despite so many people with extreme talents like that, the destruction of human civilization could not be avoided. There is still much to be done, and the road ahead is vast for me. Every minute, every second, I have to do my best to become the strongest of humanity. A month later, Xiao Lin was meditating and practicing her techniques. The lieutenant colonel then opened the door and said, not bad, huh? You're progressing quite quickly. You can already control 3 stars with ease. When you can control sick, that will mean you've entered the realm of a level 1 mentalist. Xiao Lin bows to her and says, thank you very much, Chief Instructor Commander. This is all thanks to your tutelage. The lieutenant colonel replies, it's also due to your effort and talent. However, I've noticed something. There seems to be a great weakness in your mental stealth. Has anyone left you with any kind of mental trauma before? Xiao Lin, very scared, says yes and asks, Chief Instructor Commander, is there any way to solve this? The lieutenant colonel says, well, it's quite simple. Find the person who caused this trauma in you and defeat or even kill them. Then your mental trauma will naturally disappear. This makes Xiao Lin even more frightened than usual. The lieutenant colonel asks, why are you like this? You're in the middle of rapid growth in terms of your abilities. This shouldn't be difficult for you, right? Xiao Lin begins to reflect and thinks, I heard that scary guy has been wasting all his time sleeping and that his skills have stagnated. Yang Yuan could only think of Lu Cheng and wondered what the hell he was doing at that moment. Meanwhile, Lu Cheng was in his room, surrounded by an absurd aura. Chao Yong was in the triple gravitational force and doing very well so far. A person outside commented, it's been 4 minutes and he's got 30 seconds more than last time. Then he clicks finish. Everyone commented that this was very impressive, as he had been holding out for 10 minutes in the double gravitational force, and they couldn't believe that he had actually been in the triple gravitational force for 4 minutes. Chao Yong was very proud of himself and thought, they're having all this fun because of this. I wonder how they would react if I increased the gravitational force to quadruple. A colleague then comments, Brother Chao, it looks like you'll be able to advance to quadruple gravitational force soon. And after you become a rank 3 martial artist, no one in this training camp will be a match for you. He then asks about that boy, and the man replies, you mean Lu Cheng, right? Well, he's still the same. Every time someone goes to deliver his meals, they see that he's asleep in bed. In fact, he seems to be having some pretty crazy dreams lately. Huh? Chao Yong comments, what an arrogant guy. In the past, I wouldn't have stood a chance against him, but no matter how slow the tortoise is, it can still catch up with the hare or the worm. He's already spent more than a month sleeping, and that's really a waste of those 1,000 points he got. Maybe now is my chance. Suddenly, Lu Cheng appeared at an absurd speed, asking to be excused. Everyone was amazed that it was him. Lu Cheng comments, so this is the gravitational force training room, huh? It really looks like a lot of fun in here. Chao Yong replies, good morning, Sleeping Beauty. You decided to come to the gravitational force training room after sleeping for a month, didn't you? However, Lu Cheng ignores him and thinks, I didn't think you'd spend so many points on food. So let's start slowly, just 3 hours. Lu Cheng says, it's been over a month. Well, at least now I can know how strong I've become. And Chao Yong replies, you've been asleep all this time and you really think you've gotten stronger just by sleeping? You're kidding, right? The countdown begins, and Chao Yong wonders if Lu Cheng isn't going to warm up first. The system announces, user Lu Cheng, gravitational force level 2. Chao Yong comments, the gravitational force training room is no joke. If you don't do some kind of warm-up before using it, the external pressure can immobilize you and end up rupturing your organs. Either he doesn't know that, or he's very arrogant, but either way, he's gone. Another comments, the gravity system should have been activated by now, and why does it look like he didn't even notice? Meanwhile, Lu Qing starts training as if nothing had happened. Everyone around began to wonder if that really was Lu Qing. Those passing by were even more impressed, as he moved with incredible fluidity, even under intense gravitational force. One boy commented, "Lu Qing can move so fluidly like that, even under a gravitational force? That really can't be real. What's happening to that machine?" Lu Qing was very happy, commenting that this was very innovative. He then goes over to the panel machine, and Chao Yong comments, "He won't make it because he can't take it anymore, right?" However, Lu Qing clicks a button and suddenly a loud noise starts, drawing everyone's attention. Everyone was wondering what was going on there, and Chao Yong was very impressed to realize that Lu Qing had increased to quadruple gravitational force, i.e. level 4 gravitational force. Lu Qing begins to concentrate and says, "So this is what it feels like to be in a higher gravitational force, right? Let's get started." He then bends down and puts his hand on the ground, and everyone thinks he's given up because he can't take it anymore. Suddenly, however, everyone gets very scared. Xiaolin arrived at the scene and wondered why there were so many people there. Everyone was open-mouthed at what they were seeing. She asked what they were looking at, and when she looked too, she realized that Lu Qing was doing push-ups with just 2 fingers and upside down, even under level 4 gravity. Chao Yong, in despair, falls to the ground crying, wondering why Lu Qing was so strong and if he had really been asleep all this time. He becomes convinced that Lu Qing has already surpassed him. Lu Qing then thinks that the quadruple gravitational force was kind of interesting, but decides that he's had enough for today. He presses the button and goes to level 5. Everyone becomes desperate, sending for everyone. Lu Qing then activates his natural breathing technique in earth breathing mode. No one there could believe that he was in a 5-fold gravitational force. Suddenly, a gigantic audience formed to watch Lu Qing train. Lu Qing thought, "The 5-fold gravitational force is perfect for my current training. This way, I can perform my enhanced star body technique movements and increase the intensity even more. The room may hinder my movements, but that's far from enough. I need much greater pressure that pushes my body to its limits." People then wondered what he was doing now. Someone comments, "He's finally going to turn off that machine, isn't he? There's no way anyone can withstand pressure like that." Others said that the 5-fold gravitational force was very impressive indeed, especially considering that he had already lasted so long. But in fact, Lu Qing was increasing it even more, which made everyone impressed again. The scene then shifts to the lieutenant colonel, who comments, "There were 2 others today, and not long ago several students dropped out of boot camp." The major replies, "They're all spoiled children. After going through so much hardship, it's not surprising that they don't want to stay here anymore." She then says, "They're not capable of withstanding even a little hardship and suffering. Will they be able to survive in real battles and confrontations against monsters in the future?" The major comments, "You take these things very seriously. In fact, the level of these apprentices is very good. I believe that 80% of them will make it to the end. Take a look at the gravity room and the studio. People are striving to break new records. Someone has just broken the record for the gravity room." The lieutenant colonel then asks, "You broke the record? It was Chao Yong, right? I remember he was about to reach the quadruple gravitational force, or am I wrong?" The major replies, "Yes, but it wasn't him. It's someone you'd never imagine in a million years. In fact, it was Lu Qing, in the level 8 gravitational force." The lieutenant colonel is so surprised that she ends up breaking the glass she was holding and asks, "What did you say? Lu Qing?" The major replies, "Yes, that boy. What rank is he currently in?" She replies, "I don't really know anything anymore, but we've finally found the person we've been looking for." Lu Qing thinks that the level 8 gravitational force is even more intense than he thought, and that it's too much for his current level of vitality. He is almost at his limit. He then decides it's time to try out his new technique and begins to strengthen his heart. He is amazed to realize that, although he has only managed to build up the heart, his vitality has already increased by around 10%. He recognizes that this is the power of the King of Hell's divine enlightenment and decides that now is the time to test all his true limits. Everyone was wondering what Lu Qing was going to do now that he was facing an 8-fold gravitational force. Suddenly, the glass began to crack, and this began to affect everyone outside the gravity room as well. Even if they weren't inside, the force outside was also extremely high. However, Lu Qing wasn't satisfied with that and increased the gravitational force 10-fold. The gravitational force was so high that he was trapped on the ground. Lu Qing then thinks, "It's so intense, points, and every part of my body feels like it's screaming inside. My blood feels like it's going to clot. I'm spending all my energy just staying conscious, and I can barely move an inch. This 10-fold gravitational pull is completely beyond what I can bear, but that's exactly what I want. He reflects on the kind of person needed to change that future and reverse everything that has happened. Would it be someone who has mastered high-level martial arts, someone with extraordinary talent, or perhaps someone who has unlimited resources? The answer is someone who is able to overcome their own limits. Meanwhile, everyone outside was already kneeling on the ground because of the pressure, and Lu Cheng was trying to get up. Onlookers commented that Lu Cheng was finally back on his feet, but then he fell to the ground. After all, even he needed to rest. After a while, Lu Cheng left the room, and everyone was very happy that he had managed to do it successfully. One girl even hands him a towel, which he takes and thanks her for. Her cheeks turned red, and Lu Cheng thought, if I'd known it would all be over so quickly, I wouldn't have invested 3 hours in stitches. That really was a waste of money. Deep down, the girl was celebrating because he had paid attention to her. Lu Cheng then checks his cell phone and realizes that he has received a reward. He comments, so there's a reward for setting the new record? The system replies, you have received 1 reward point for setting the new record. Total points, 4,335 points. The people around him were impressed by his score, which was in the thousands. Another commented, all our points together wouldn't even come close to that. Lu Cheng thinks he has about 4,000 points, and that will be enough to satisfy him. He then starts to walk away, leaving everyone very impressed and wondering where he was going. The girl comments, Lu Cheng, what a commanding presence you have. He's light years ahead of all of us. This scenario is like a ferocious tiger advancing with hundreds of beasts running after it. Her friend replies, Lu Cheng has impressive physical strength and talent. And to think that he broke the record of Chow Yong, who has defensive talent. That was really impressive to me. Could it be that his vitality has reached rank 4? And what kind of physique does he have? In the direction Lu Cheng was going, he headed towards the movement and step technique studio, where a red-haired boy was training. The boy comments, training complete, and the results of the level 2 completion rate are 87%. The system then congratulates him, saying that he has outperformed 52% of the students in terms of movement skills. He thinks, the results of the movement studio and step techniques are constantly being updated on the Martial Alliance main board, and I can see my world ranking at any time. I've already surpassed more than half the people in this world, which must be at least a few billion, right? As expected, human beings are not equal. Having acquired a talent for speed and the private instruction of Instructor Chin, the distance between me and the others is now beyond measure. As for them, they can only observe my training and already gain extraordinary benefits. But when he turned to the people, he realized that they weren't looking at him. He asks himself, what the hell is going on here? Why is everyone here? Even Instructor Dong and Instructor Chin are present. What are they all looking at? Could it be a demonstration by an instructor? The boy then runs off, asking what was going on there and who everyone was looking at. Someone replies, Lu Cheng, of course, right? Who else could it be? The red-haired boy starts smiling and says, Lu Cheng, that lazy boy? Do you really think that lazy bastard can beat my record? You've gone mad, haven't you? The man next to him asks, who the hell are you, man? As the red-haired boy looks ahead, he says, there's no way he's going to do that. All the laser launchers are on full power. Lu Cheng thinks he's got it. All he has to do is avoid the laser beams, and there seems to be no way of predicting where they will come from. That was certainly one of the difficulties of that test. However, that was nothing to him, as he was very determined to succeed. The test begins, and several lasers start to be fired in his direction. With the greatest ease in the world, Lu Cheng manages to dodge them all. The red-haired boy says he can't believe what he's seeing. How could such a thing be possible? There are thousands of lasers in that training studio, and there's no way of predicting where they'll hit next. And with that intensity, how is it even possible? The red-haired boy then grabs the other by the neck and asks, are you sure this is his first time in the movement studio? The boy replies, of course, since everyone here followed him there. Besides, he was in the gravitational force training room and has just broken the all-time record there, withstanding 10 times gravity. The red-haired boy then falls to his knees on the floor and thinks, Lu Cheng, his talent wasn't of the physical kind, and he didn't spend the whole month sleeping. How is the gap between our powers so great? The scene then shifts to the lieutenant colonel, who thinks, Lu Cheng, is this really his first time in the movement studio? No, even if he had come hundreds of times, it wouldn't be easy to launch that level. And that boy's movements, rather than being reactive, are like prediction. Little did she know that Lu Cheng had an extraordinary ability. After observing Lu Cheng's movements a little longer, she came to the conclusion that he was anticipating all those lasers and was moving with absurd ease. However, there was one question: how was this boy able to do all that, which was surprising even to her? The lieutenant colonel then begins to activate a power of hers, at which point the major asks her what she was doing. She replies that she wasn't doing anything and thinks, "It's strange. The last time I tested it, there was no trace of psychic energy in it. Why did I feel the need to test it again? Am I going mad?" The system then announces, Level 2 Movement Studio, 62% completion rate. You have completed Level 2 of the Movement Studio. Lu Cheng thinks, this training program is really very good. I can feel my movements getting much faster. The people watching commented, how is he managing to stay there at Level 2? Another commented that Level 2 training seemed very easy for Lu Cheng. The major then observed that Lu Cheng seemed relaxed and that his physical control was perfect. The lieutenant colonel comments, I'd like to see how far he can go. The major replies, this is probably the first time we've been on the same page. The system then announces that the Movement Studio's Level 3 training is about to begin. Suddenly, several yellowish objects start being thrown in Lu Cheng's direction, and everyone is amazed to see what Level 3 looks like, since no one knew what it looked like. Lu Cheng starts to dodge and comments, now it's getting difficult. This time, the lasers are being positioned in a way that prevents me from dodging, and that's not bad at all. This time, I'm going to have to start making a real effort. The major is very impressed by what he's seeing and comments, this is the stage of inner discernment, and he's just had a breakthrough. Even among the rank 4 and 5 veterans who have been on the battlefield, few have managed to reach the stage of inner discernment. The major comments that he himself only achieved it when he was 22, and the lieutenant colonel adds that it was at the age of 25 that she reached this level. The major continues, it's different with me, since I'm a speed-type martial artist, I was born for it. But that boy is only 18 years old. In the Movement Studio, Level 3 was at 15% completion, but Lu Cheng was already finding it very difficult to dodge the lasers. He thought that just relying on his psychic sense wasn't enough. The major observed that, despite this, Lu Cheng seemed to be much more relaxed. Suddenly, Lu Cheng shouts, switch, and switches to wind breathing. With this change, the completion rate at Level 3 quickly reaches 62%. People watching from outside wondered where Lu Cheng was, as he seemed to have disappeared. The Level 3 Movement Studio was already 81% complete. One of the observers comments, Lu Cheng is so fast that we can't even see him with the naked eye, so he seems to have disappeared for a moment. Finally, the level of completion reaches 100%, and the major comments, well, it looks like the new generation has arrived. He really showed us everything today. First the 10-fold gravitational force, and now Level 3 in the Movement Studio. He now looks exhausted, so let's get back to it. But the lieutenant colonel disagrees, saying that it looks like Lu Cheng will continue. So the Level 4 Movement Studio is activated. The major is horrified. This kid is going to try to get through all this in one day? I've just started training at Level 4 myself. When Level 4 is activated, a kind of laser cage is formed, and people wonder if it's possible to dodge it. It was already at 30% completion when the major commented, now that he's reached this stage, let's see how Lu Cheng deals with it. Lu Cheng, for his part, thought that he was almost at the limit of what he could do with the wind-breathing speed enhancement. He decides to activate the divine illumination of the King of Hell. As soon as he activates the technique, he comments, the sensation is as if time has stopped for me. If I remember correctly, the appropriate term given by psychic mentalists is called temporal sense. This is the embodiment of the metamorphosis of one's psychic energy, and this kind of metamorphosis can only happen in psychic mentalists who have reached rank 3. In other words, I am now officially a rank 3 psychic mentalist. Noticing this, the lieutenant colonel is overjoyed and comments, so you really are a psychic mentalist, are you, Lu Cheng? Suddenly, the lieutenant colonel summons a Susanoo-like creature behind her, and the major asks if she was going mad and what she was planning to do. She replies that she wants to test him one more time. She orders the creature to attack Lu Cheng, but he seems to have been expecting it and deflects it with some ease. Lu Cheng ends up destroying her creature, and the lieutenant colonel almost falls to her knees on the floor, saying, illumination, and that's as far as my vitality can go right now. I'll leave that for later. The system then announces, training has come to an end. You have completed 56% of Level 4 training. Cheng. Congratulations, martial artist. A huge number appears on the screen, indicating that Lu Cheng has surpassed 97% of martial artists in terms of movement skill. Everyone is impressed by his result, wondering if he really was a student. Based on his movement, Lu Cheng was above more than 1 billion people. Another boy comments, he's only over 52% of martial artists, but I'm still 45% above him. And to think he's a physical type martial artist. Lu Cheng then reflects, 3% of people are here now. The major explains that they've called him in for a short assessment and that there are a few things they'd like to discuss with him. Lu Cheng just accepts. The lieutenant colonel comments, every dormitory is equipped with this kind of blood collection needle for vitality assessment. You tested your vitality during that time, right? Lu Cheng replies that he didn't, because he couldn't pierce his skin with that needle in the dormitory. The major then comments, I told you this kid has definitely reached rank 3. Without this level of physical endurance, it would be impossible to break the G-force record. He asks Qin Shu to get the golden collection needle. As they take the needle, the lieutenant colonel comments, this is a collection needle used by rank 5 martial artists. It should be enough for you. She pulls his hand and pierces his finger, revealing that his vitality level was 24.65, which classifies him as a rank 3 martial artist. The major then exclaims, Jesus, that son of... It's been almost a decade since I've seen a rank 3 this young. He then suggests, let's check his combat power now. Lu Cheng prepares himself and thinks, since I'm going to do all this, I'll do my best and we'll see how far I can go. He activates his fire breath, perfect fist technique, and star impact 8 times, reaching a combat power of 271,820, equivalent to a rank 4 martial artist. The major is very impressed by the score and thinks, a rank 3 martial artist has managed to achieve the combat power of a rank 5 martial artist. This kid really is a monster. The major then comments that that was enough, that Lu Cheng had graduated, and says, you should do what you want from now on. Remember to issue a report so that the Martial Association can update your rank. Lu Cheng thanks the major, but the lieutenant colonel intervenes. Wait a minute, Lu Cheng. There's still one more test. She presents an energy crystal, explaining, this is a special crystal discovered in the country of Lion over 100 years ago. It has an extremely high energy absorption and, since its discovery, has been used especially to assess the psychic power of mentalists. All you have to do is touch the crystal with your hands and channel your psychic energy to carry out the assessment. She begins the test and surprises the major with a score of 143.2. He comments, your power has increased again, and the purity index has also increased a lot. Last time, it was only 3 points and something. The major jokes, do you really think I'm like you, who trains all day? I'm different. He continues, you can tease me, but you can never change my lifestyle. Lu Cheng then turns to the crystal and places his hand on it. The major comments, I would have trusted you if you had said that Lu Cheng has half your power, but to say that he is no weaker than you, I didn't believe that for a second. The lieutenant colonel asks him to shut up and stay out of the way. The crystal begins to glow brightly, and the lieutenant colonel exclaims, how is this possible? Lu Cheng's mental strength is 113,000, with a mental purity of 20.3. The lieutenant colonel is extremely impressed. His mental purity is 20.3, more than double my mental strength. For a psychic, each point of mental purity is extremely difficult to acquire. It's like repeatedly folding and compressing an ordinary towel until it's the size of a coin. You can't even compare something like that with something 5 times bigger. It took me 2 years of hard practice to increase it by just 1 point, and he's only 18 years old, but his skill level is already absurd. The term genius is no longer enough to describe him. We can only refer to this boy as an anomaly. The major commented that it was incredible, absolutely impressive, so impressive that it bordered on the divine. The lieutenant colonel then punched him in the head and asked, Lu Cheng, do you have any kind of master? Have you studied mental cultivation techniques before? Lu Cheng replies, yes, I have a master, and he taught me a unique method of cultivating mental energy. What's more, he also taught me the techniques and methods for using this energy. The lieutenant colonel comments, I understand, as I expected. She thinks, it's obvious that he had a master. If Lu Cheng had gotten here on his talent alone, it would have been very difficult for me to accept. She continues, even if you have a master, it shows how powerful you are in terms of talent. And I suppose your talent awakening wasn't that long ago, right? Lu Cheng replies, it was less than 3 months ago. This surprises both of them, but they disguise it. The lieutenant colonel continues, I see, you awakened 3 months ago and have already reached level 3 in the intensity of your mental energy, as well as having such high purity. Even in several decades of the Mental Masters Association, it would be difficult to find someone like you, a true prodigy. Lu Cheng was then asked if mental masters also had associations, and explained, the mental master system is totally different because of the rarity of mental talent awakenings. Even with the large population of our country, less than 1% have the talent of a mental master. Perhaps your master didn't tell you this so as not to affect your training, since the more knowledge you have, the more distractions arise, and the purity of mental energy can decrease. However, as you are a genius, I would like you to join the association. They will be able to provide more resources for your training. This is my badge. Take it with you to the association and they will give you the corresponding help. Lu Cheng then replies, actually, I've never seen my master's appearance. Every time I receive instruction from him, it's in a very mysterious way. The lieutenant colonel comments, your master must be an extraordinary person. She thinks, in general, when a talent as powerful as Lu Cheng's is discovered, people consider it a treasure and protect it. It's surprising that his master allows him to fend for himself and isn't even willing to show himself. Only someone with a very high level of knowledge and perspective could act like that. This confirms that there is no genius without reason in this world. Lu Cheng reflected, it's very difficult to explain all this now, so I use this excuse. It would be nice to be able to say openly that my master comes from the future, 10,000 years in the future to be exact, and possesses level 11 power. His name is Duan Feng. The major interrupted, saying, although you seem to be enjoying talking, I'd like to interrupt for a moment. I've come to discuss a few matters with you today, and first of all, take this here. He hands over a package containing 5 million. Even though the training camp isn't over yet, it looks like you're number 1 in this camp, and this is an additional prize for your performance. Lu Cheng is impressed by the amount and comments, don't worry, there's no way you can be dissatisfied. That's as much as we can get. The major explains, the Eastern District's military budget has always been adjusted, and most of the funds for this training camp have been earmarked to cover the daily meals of all you students. The major then jokes, you're famous throughout the camp for being a big eater, and if we added up all the money you've spent on food these days, it would surely come to 7 or 8 million, right? The protagonist is outraged to hear that the meals cost 7 to 8 million and thinks, my god, were those meals that expensive? That means I'll never be able to eat them again. The lieutenant colonel then comments, Lu Cheng, even though this amount of money is small, it's enough to demonstrate the goodwill of the Eastern Military District. And that's the second thing on our to-do list. Lu Cheng asks if this is a form of recruitment, and the major replies, you're very intelligent, you can understand it that way. The lieutenant colonel continues, you must understand that, being a martial prodigy like you, it is inevitable that you will go to the battlefield to fight enemies and monsters. A normal martial warrior can't become a holy dragon martial warrior by being in any safe zone. The major then added, the government and the Martial Alliance offer so much support and privileges to martial arts participants, but this isn't just so that they can enjoy it just like that. Sooner or later, that time will come. What we hope is that when the time comes to choose a military district, you will first consider our Eastern Military District. In addition, you should know that in our region we have a special advantage. Our female soldiers are the most beautiful in the whole country, with beautiful hair, features, and impressive airbags, all of them very muscular. At that moment, the lieutenant colonel puts a padlock on the major's head, and Lu Cheng thinks that, in the future, he will certainly decide which district he will join. The lieutenant colonel then says, and the last thing, we've decided that you will represent the Dongning Province Genius Training Camp and take part in the selection of enlightened generals in the Eastern Province. She explains that, in all the Eastern provinces, the talent training camp concludes with the purpose of selecting from among them the true geniuses with the potential to become stars. Surely you know what it means to become a star, right? Lu Cheng replied that yes, it was the title of Grand Master. The major added, it would be the star of Kim Ming, representing the future Grand Masters, the stars in the making. And there's only one person like that in the whole of the Eastern region each year, selected from all the prodigies. Lu Cheng, you should consider it. Before the major has finished speaking, Lu Cheng says he's going to take part and thinks, since we live in this era, there are certain things that are inevitable. Since I'm trying to change the fate of the entire human race single-handedly, I will inevitably have to face difficulties and light a fire that will spread quickly. quickly. He continues, both General Dong and I have full confidence in your abilities. If even you don't make it, it's hard to imagine who else in Dongning would make it in this generation. Besides, I forgot to mention the rewards of this selection competition. They are granted directly by the Eastern Military District and are much more generous than our small training camp can offer. Lu Cheng replies that he understands and thinks, by showing more skills, I can get more resources. The Lieutenant Colonel comments, it's several months until the Kim Ming Stars selection, which will officially begin after all the camps in all the provinces have finished. I'll let you know when it's time, and in any case, you won't miss the university entrance exams. The Major adds, with your skills, it doesn't matter if you take part in the unified exam or not. You can freely choose any martial university in the entire eastern region. Lu Qing then asks, so do I have to stay at the training camp? The Major replies, as you wish. We've already told you that you can do whatever you want here. If you don't want to stay, you can leave at any time. Lu Qing turns and starts to leave, saying that he's going to stay for a while longer, and that if there's nothing else to say, he's already leaving. The Major comments that he bets the boy stayed just for the food. The Lieutenant Colonel thinks that she never imagined she would be jealous of someone for their talent. The Major adds, yes, but he's different from the rest of us. He's destined not to be a mere mortal. I'm sure that Lu Qing will cause impactful and transcendental changes in this area. The scene shifts to the city of Bai in the Martial Association. Lu Qing was thinking, it's been a while since I was last here. If I remember correctly, President Shan Ru's office is on the 6th floor. Suddenly, as he was walking through the corridors, he heard someone cursing Shan Ru, calling him old and saying that he was there just to annoy him. A woman appears and tells him that Lu Qing has finally arrived. The protagonist asks her what was going on behind that door, and she asks him to ignore it and just go in. When they entered, she told President Shan Ru that Lu Qing was there. Suddenly, a man in a blue suit stands up happily and comments, Shan Ru, that's the genius from my city you mentioned to me, isn't it? Not bad, huh? Not bad at all. He really is a promising young man. He then asks Shan Ru not to get upset and to cheer up, because not everyone can be as extraordinary as his granddaughter. There are countless people who are weaker than Xiao Lin, and one Lu Qing more or less from my city won't make any difference, says the man, while Shan Ru, clearly annoyed, reacts to the comment. President Shan Ru then turns to Lu Cheng and asks, why are you here? Your training camp is still in progress. Give me a good explanation. Lu Cheng replied that it was no big deal and that the head instructor of the training camp, Dong Qin Shu, had asked him to deliver a document to the president as she needed his approval. The man comments sarcastically, did someone from the Dong family request this? And she wants this document to be examined and approved by the president of the Bai City Martial Association? Such a small town. Kid, you committed some kind of fraud at the training camp, didn't you? And now you want the person who recommended you to take responsibility for your mistake. Look, kid, this is no joke, huh? The president, already angry, brutally opens the paper, but when he reads it, he is surprised. The man insists that the president not let Lu Qing roll it up, but Shan Ru asks Lu Cheng, when did you become a 3-star martial artist? This surprises the man even more. The lieutenant colonel then comments, Lu Cheng, you found the right person. The mayor of Bai City, Shan Ru, is here. The mayor confirms, yes, I'm here. Nice to meet you. And that she recognized her grandfather's voice. She asks her grandfather why he was there and why he was on a video call with the instructor. The lieutenant colonel, visibly irritated, asks Xiao Lin if she has already reached the targets set for her and if she still has plenty of time to be distracted like this. She warns her that today's training will be multiplied by 10. Meanwhile, the president and Lu Cheng observe the interaction between grandfather and granddaughter. The president then concludes, okay, let's get straight to the point. Go there in person if you want to talk to your granddaughter, Chief Instructor Dong. I've seen the document you asked Lu Cheng to give me and I'll process it soon. She replies, perfect. Make sure this doesn't delay the event that will take place in a month's time. After all, Lu Cheng will be the representative of the Dongning Province Prodigy Training Camp. In the Eastern District Morningstar team, Lu Cheng is our strongest prodigy from this year's training camp. There's no longer any need for him to continue training here. The president scoffs at the situation, but the older man still can't believe it. Now he understood why his granddaughter had called earlier. He could only hear the instructor scolding Xiao Lin, and the old man commented, the complaint about having a monster in the training camp, surely she was referring to him. The president then replies, understood, Chief Instructor Dong. I won't delay you any longer. her, but she asked him to wait a while as she needed to talk to Lu Cheng. She then turns to Lu Cheng. I've obtained most of the materials for making the mentalist psychic weapons you asked for. I'll draw up a detailed price list and send it to you. Just tell me what you need and I'll help you buy it. Also, hurry up for the assessment as a psychic mentalist, and when you pass, you'll have the right to access the star web to buy the materials yourself. After saying this, she ends the call. The president, very startled, asks what she meant by that, especially about the assessment as a psychic mentalist. Lu Cheng explains, "Oh, that's already happened. I was evaluated by a psychic gift bearer at the training camp, and the instructor wrote a letter of recommendation for me to pass the evaluation. It's no big deal." The president, all proud of his prodigy, commented, "I wasn't wrong about you at all, Lu Cheng. You really are a genius of the century from the city of Bai." The old man, still horrified, thinks about Lu Cheng's psychic power of 270,000 points. The scene changes to the entrance to the Martial Association. The president asks if Lu Cheng would like someone to take him home, but Lu Cheng refuses, saying that he needs to go somewhere else first. The president then suggests that, if he has free time, he should visit his house, where he will prepare some dishes for Lu Cheng himself and introduce him to other young people of the same age with whom he can talk. Lu Cheng, getting into his car, replies that he'll see about that later and thinks, it's amazing how in the world of martial arts, power can conquer anything. The driver, curious, asks what Lu Cheng's relationship was with the president, since he had been very friendly with Lu Cheng. Lu Cheng replies that they are not related and that he only met the president that day. He realizes that even the driver noticed that he was in a good mood, and now he has something to be proud of. Just then, however, the driver ends up hitting a sign for the Hongchuan Martial Arts Academy, leaving Lu Cheng wondering what was going on there.